YouTube family, what's good? What's happening? Ironwork 92,000 in the house in full effect. Welcome to True Earth Tuesday. Tuesday, not Thursday or Fourthday. Tuesday. Man, I am happy to be here. Happy that y'all are here. Matter of fact, who's here right now? Who's here right now enjoying True Earth Tuesday with me tonight? Man, it's a beautiful day out these days, man. We're on our what? Third day of summer? Yeah, something like that. But we had the summer solstice start off. It was the 21st, right? June. Y'all know what it is. And of course, we take our equinoxes, we take our solstices mad serious around here. So the other day it was the June solstice, summer solstice, all that goodness. With the sun, everybody knows what it is. So if you're new to the true earth and everything else, you know where the sun is in proximity to the rest of the earth. It's within the circle, right? The innermost part of what the earth is, this part, Tropic of Cancer, and doing its circle for a few days at its max inside. Then it goes outside, continuing on with the spiral throughout the year, doing what it do. Shannon Emerson, what's happening? Ida Hill, how you doing, sweetheart? How's everybody doing? Wait, it's Monday. So, hey, whatever, man. True Earth Monday. Wow. I'm all, hey, whatever, man. Celebrate. I'm happy that it's Monday. I'm so happy it's Monday. It's Tuesday to me. How's that? So, whatever. We're here. I got y'all here. Let's just enjoy it. Let's discuss what the topics are today. Right? This has been sitting on my soul for the last few days anyway. So, whatever. We'll do True Earth Tuesday again tomorrow anyway. So, it don't matter to me. I'm just happy to have you guys here with me today where we can enjoy each other. So it is what it is. I don't know if you guys have looked or if you guys have subscribed to Flatworks, right? Flatworks is the brother that's been joining us these last few weeks. He's got some awesome and amazing content. He had a video which I'm about to present to you here in a sec. He had a video that basically helps us to better understand what we may be coming across with the final experiment. If you don't know, if you're late to the game, the final experiment is the experiment where the financier, I forget his name, but he's a pastor. Apparently he's got an awful ton of money, butt ton of money. And he's going to finance the trip to where a bunch of true earthers and a bunch of global, when I say a bunch, like 2 or 3 flat earthers, true earthers, and 2 or 3 globers are going to go to Antarctica, right? The Arctic Circle, and they're going to observe the 24-hour sun. So, or what's supposed to be the 24-hour sun. Now, we know that if the sun is there for 24 hours, it's not what we thought it was. And the globe is going to claim that it proves that it's a globe. In fact, it proves that it's a globe, which I've been saying this the whole time. To me, it doesn't matter what the freaking sun does. The sun could come out there and then freaking turn colors for all I care, right? But now, the video that Flat Earth just produced the other day, and this is something that he kind of tipped us off to last week on True Earth Tuesday, right? Which, even though it's Monday, whatever, we'll do it again tomorrow. But he kind of tipped us off as to what he was going to, that he said something that he was working on, he's going to put out to us now. I'm going to show it today. If you missed it last time, we're going to watch it today and we're going to break it all down. So let me get to Flatworks' channel, and we're gonna look at it and we're going to talk about it. Some really good stuff. I like Flatworks, man. He's a new guy, a new True Earth producer, and the stuff that he comes out with is just over the top, just good. So this is a part 2 of that. I don't know where the part 1 is. It was here, but hopefully Flatworks comes on tonight and then he could show us where part 1 is, because this is some really, really good groundbreaking stuff. And the stuff he's produced, I mean, you'll get to see for yourself. So you'll get to see for yourself. Anyway, Half Warrior. How's everything, Holmes? Brother, it's always a pleasure, and it's always good to see you. Freaked out a bit. It was Tuesday, thought I missed my appointment. Shannon, my bad, sis. I apologize for that. Yeah, it's messed up Monday because I thought it was truer Tuesday. My bust, y'all. All right. So let me stop talking all that mess. I'm gonna show you what it is that that Flatworks came out with. Let me share this screen right here. Matter of fact, before we even continue, how do I sound? Do I sound like I'm inside of a bucket still? Because I thought I fixed this problem. How do I sound? Do I sound well? Rethink Inc. Hey, brother, it's good to see you, man. I'm going to share that right there. Rethink Inc. I don't think I've seen you before, man. It's nice to see you. I pay close attention to the people that come in. And so, Rethink Inc. War lays flat. Objective reality is a topographical place. Yes, it is. And so, that's okay. So, before we continue with the video from Flatworks, that's something that actually that I heard today again, and I heard it again and again. And so this is something that I think we need to kind of not necessarily reinvestigate, but we need to remember that somebody put it well. And I was listening to the video. I think it was from I think this was a video that John Thor produced today. It was either John Thor or Robot Polisher, both of which those guys produce some great stuff. If you haven't subbed to them, shout out to John Thor, shout out to Robot Polisher as well. Mr. Jones, salute. Good to see you, brother. So they said, or on this production today, they said your reality is flat, even. I'm basically paraphrasing, but your reality is flat, even plane. And if you came into this world and nobody told you that this place was a globe, you wouldn't think otherwise. You wouldn't think that we were on top of a freaking spinning roly poly thing where you're screwing around trying to live your life on something that's actually moving, right? Hold on. Before we continue again, I apologize, y'all. Let me see if I could fix this audio some more. Okay. So, do I sound better now or now? How do I sound? Do I sound better now? Hopefully, I sound good to you guys. It sounds right. Okay. This should be good. Okay. Then enough microphone checking. Let's go ahead and without further ado, let's get to it. 20 miles of missing curvature. Mr. Jones, 395 miles long, 49 miles wide, is completely frozen over the mid-January. Now, I don't know what is completely frozen, but what is this that we're talking about? Lake Baikal in Russia. Okay. All right, in Siberia. Right. It's the world's largest frozen lake, covering itself in ice from mid-January to early May. Yeah, and Siberia is like one of the coldest places in the world, right? And that's a good point. Like I didn't even consider its dimensions other than its depth. 395 miles long, 49 miles wide. Yeah, completely frozen. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I never even considered that. Part of the flat Earth community since 2014, a moderator. Rethink Inc. Really? On globe buses. Oh, so I wonder if you knew Bob Nodell, right? I came into the flat Earth game rather late myself, so I didn't have the privilege of meeting guys notables like Bob Nodell and what's his name, Rob Skiba. You know, it's not horrible. Okay, all right. So without further ado, let's get to Flatworks. Let's talk about it and all that other stuff. So here we go, Flatworks with his latest.
The sun is missing. Here
we go. So new evidence, the best proof yet to be determined. Let's see.
Hey everyone. just wanted to give you guys another update on this final experiment and do kind of a follow-up video about the final experiment being done in Union Glacier Camp in Antarctica this December. A lot of very interesting information to go across today, to go over. One of the things, and one of the biggest things, I came across some very incredible evidence recently that I found about a post of that, if it's actually true, which the timestamp and the GPS coordinate position posted in the post suggest it's real, it would 100% objectively debunk the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details. I'm going to go over it later in the video, but let's just say that somebody was at 78 degrees south latitude on January 21st of 2017. They had made a post with a photo, and they basically had stated that the sun is missing from the sky and there is no sun, and it got darker out. Basically, they observed the sky after the sun had set on 78 degrees south latitude on January 21st, which again, you'd have to observe a 24-hour sun there. And they did not. They actually observed the sky after the sun had set.
So let's keep things like that, things of that nature in mind, right? So when these guys talk about when they talk about where folks are 78 degrees south latitude. Let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up a flat earth map just so we better understand what it is we're looking at, right? So I'm going to bring up everybody's favorite, the good old fashioned Gleason's map, and then we'll take a look at that real quick. Let's take a look at the Gleasons. We're going to stop the screen. We're going to present. Man, my nose is big, bro. I got a big old nose, man. That trying to look like a bell pepper. And a spice. Look at who it is. Ah. All right, here it is. So let's see. We've got. So you've got to think right here is your Tropic of Cancer, right? Right around there. Anything beyond that, Capricorn, excuse me, your Tropic of Capricorn. I apologize. So your Tropic of Capricorn is right here. The sun will not go below down here into the Patagonia regions and all that, right? The sun ain't coming down here. So I feel whether you're here or here, just as long as you're within here, you're not going to be getting that 24-hour sun, or you shouldn't get a 24-hour sun. Strictly based upon, now, sunlight is a different thing, right? Or brightness in the sky, where your sky may look like daylight a little bit, that's something different. But as far as sunlight, you shouldn't have to get it if you're down here, right? Because look at where the sun is coming. It's going to be here. And the sun is going to play within this region right here, between your tropics. And it never leaves. That's its containment. That's the track that it runs off of. And if it runs outside the track, for all y'all that have run track, right, it gets what? It gets disqualified. So the sun doesn't get itself disqualified, so it stays within the bounds of the track that it runs, right? Right in there. So if you're here, if you're there, if you're in New Zealand, if you're in Southern Australia, I guess you could say, right? We had a couple of spots out there, Fremantle and South of Perth and everything. You shouldn't be able to see a 24-hour sun with all these folks, especially if you live in a place like New Zealand. At least this is my assumption. I haven't been to Australia. I haven't been to New Zealand, so I couldn't tell you. But I would imagine you wouldn't have to go all the way to Antarctica in order to experience these things. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that makes, as long as you're below the 66 parallel. Okay, that makes sense. As long as you're below the 66. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah. And so you shouldn't be able, so I mean, to go all the way to Antarctica on, during the winter solstice, to me, I don't know, I think it's a little bit of a waste of money. But then again, if they're not spending that money, that's one thing. Now, let's go back to the final experiment, um, and let's discuss that and why this video, I feel, is giving us groundbreaking news. Because some of these things we may have known, but the degree to which this new information is possibly going to affect this the outcome, potential outcome of this final experiment is a big deal, right? Probably one of the biggest deals that I don't think enough people are talking about. So let me stop flapping my gums. Let's get back to the final experiment. Here it is.
So we'll go over that a little bit later. But also want to cover a few other things. We're going to briefly go over how this 24 hours of daylight is not actually a 24-hour sun, and how that actually works in a flat model with the seasonal change in the tangential velocity and change in altitude of the sun actually can wrap the sunlight all the way around Antarctica and give it 24 hours of daylight without actually observing a 24-hour sun in the sky or above the horizon. And but you'll still have 24 hours of daylight, and how it works perfectly on a flat model. And we're going to cover a lot of detail on that, on how that actually works and how it's observed and how it's demonstrated. We're also going to cover briefly, I'm going to cover, just because it's been coming up a lot lately, I'm going to go a little bit over sun simulators or solar simulators. I have found some pretty good footage of them actually being observed on webcams and on recorded video and photos. I also found some patents on them, and we have some pretty rare footage that I found that actually shows them glitching out and flickering, and you can see the actual inner mechanisms in videos of the sun, of these mechanisms of these solar filters or these solar simulators. But I'm also gonna say with context that I don't believe.
Two things. Rethink Inc. That I did not know. That's really interesting. We're going to touch on that here in a second. But Half Warrior, you're absolutely right. Doesn't matter what the hell the sun does. It's not going to change what the bearing on the ice wall or the plane under the sun. That is the truth. It just means that this world is a lot weirder than we thought. But let's continue.
They could fake the 24-hour sun with a solar simulator, just because of the amount of cameras they have. It'd be detected on a infrared camera and a different kind of cameras they'd have, so the heat signature wouldn't match. But I'll go over that later too. But I'm also do a quick recap on what we covered last time with the faked 24-hour suns, the videos.
Now, I'll tell you what, this is something that maybe a lot of you guys have seen. Um, but at the same time, like I remember back in the day, it was around 2010. And so not too long ago, but enough time where China was talking about making a fake sun. They were talking about it, or they would have already made it at this point, or had something to this effect, right? And so I'm like, how the hell are you going to make a fake sun? So to me, all this flat Earth, this new stuff, this flat Earth paradigm wasn't even sitting in my head. My thing was, how is this going to affect diurnal creatures, or rather nocturnal creatures, right? And how does this in turn also affect diurnal creatures? So my thing was, these are just people messing with nature. Here we go again, just another way to ruin this earth that we live on, right? Little did I think how far we would come in technology, and the things that we would use these things like the false sun, what we use it for. Now, I don't know what they would use a false sun for, but could I imagine these guys messing with this experiment? Possibly. Because now, here's another thing. It's not just the United States and China with this technology, because this is something that China has boasted to have had, like I said, since I could remember, which was in 2010. And this is something that I've also mentioned on other channels saying, hey, I think I said on Jeranism, you know what? Jaron was like, you guys are fucking pussies if you don't think. He said something to this effect. Don't quote me totally on this, but we can go back and we can see on his stuff. He's like, you know, Jaron was defending himself and his stance as to why he was originally going to go to the trip to Antarctica, and then he decided at the end to pull himself out, right? And so my thing was like, I'm not mad at Jaron, right? But originally he wanted to jump at the chance, but then he said no because rightfully so, because he said they could pull some kind of trick up their sleeve, they could harm him, this, that, the third. That's what I also felt for Austin Whitsitt, because Austin Whitsitt, he may be humble, but I think the dude is a whiz. And I think much like Rob Skiba, they would do the same trick on him. They'd kill him. I feel that they would kill him. I feel that they would kill these guys. Like people would think, oh, they're not this, they don't have enough pull. No, I think they're plenty smart and they have enough of an audience to where they have an effect, right? A positive effect, I feel, on people. And so I think this would be a couple of guys that the government would have no problem with taking out. Then they'd make whatever the fuck they want up because they have money, they have power. The big eat the little. That's just how the fuck it is in this world, and we just need to get over it. So I'm just afraid for those guys. And I could see why if Jaron wanted to pull out of that trip altogether, I get it. But the things that he said kind of stuck with me, right? And he was like, I was a flat earth for this long. You think I'm going to let some small experiment slow me down? Something to that effect? No, no, no. And so he was like, why would you turn on me now? Something to that effect also. I'm not quoting him verbatim, right? And he also continued with, you guys wanted to see these experiments. Now you're backing out. Something to that effect. And you guys also, I'm sure you also remember some of this on his live Jaronism, right? And so what I typed in was, I was like, yo, China, and I said this specifically, I was like, China has been known for putting things in the sky. If you guys don't remember, let me remind you. Just a few years back, China had simulations to where they had like mirages of cities and people in those cities in the skies, right? And I know there are places in China that have these they have issues with their smog and their fog and all this and all that, but they had these mirages of these cities and shit in the sky. They did. Like everybody saw it, not everybody, but people were witness to this, right? And so it made news. And then it happened again in China. And I don't know if this happened anywhere in the North American continent, but it happened in China a few times. I don't know how many exactly, but I know it was more than once. Okay? Now, China is talking about making a fake sun, or they've already made the fake sun. They've broken many temperature records or illumination records as well, right? That's another thing. China is also known for they're known for their holograms and how well they are at producing these holograms. Like nobody really thinks about these things until people like Flatworks starts bringing up these false suns. And why do I talk about that in conjunction with this video? Why? Now, it turns out it's not just China with these false suns. China, it's the usual suspects in this. China, Russia, India, Japan. China, Russia, India, Japan, the European Union. So basically, some of the more richer players in this whole field of lies that we're living in, right? What does China, Russia, India, Japan, especially, and I'm not even going to mention the European countries, but those four countries specifically have in common? They're the ones, don't forget, they're the ones that landed probes supposedly on the moon. So don't you think that it would stand that they have some kind of stake in a false or artificial sun, that they have some stake in what the skies could look like and what they can reproduce so that they can fool and trick everybody? These are the same motherfuckers that claim to have landed some nonsense on the moon. Recently, Japan, India, and the US, right? And China, they claim some stuff too. And then they're also claiming to be on the dark side of the moon. And this just recently happened, guys. And this is some stuff I don't want you to forget, right? I don't want us forgetting about this stuff because it's so goddamn current. And now we have this final experiment that's about to fall into our laps, potentially fall into our laps this December. And then we're finding, and the stuff that we're starting to find out is just mind boggling, right? We're finding out the guy that's financing this trip, right? This quote unquote pastor that's also friends with McToon. He's super rich. He was on the Forbes 5, he was on the Forbes magazine, which they wound up removing, and he ended up amassing his fortune at the age of 33. These things, it's almost like a bad dream, right? That keeps going and happening over and over again, where you keep hearing the same things over and over again. It's like a bad dream or a weird story, whichever one you want to choose. That's what it is, though. So it really don't matter, right? But I want you guys to remember notable moments like that, because now we have our major players that are involved with this artificial sun. And now we have the potential for this artificial sun to be a thing with this final experiment, right? Something to think about, definitely. But let me go to the gang right here and see what you guys have to say about it. Got the Spice, all the flat earth proof, nothing new under the fake sun. That's true. Pun intended, huh? Gotcha. I like it though. Spice. The sun simulator is stupid. How are they going to get a sun sim to fly over a 1,000? No, that's true. How do they manage to do? That's another good point. Rethink Incorporated, Rethink Inc. To fly around a 1,000 mile an hour plus, a sun sim will be seen by an infrared camera, and that's something that you're bringing that up. Rethink Inc. That's something that Flatworks has. I also heard a mention earlier in this production, right? That they could get the FLIR cameras out, the infrared stuff, and then they can look at the ground, right? The stuff that the sun is totally supposed to heat. But yeah, those are some very good points, right? But I don't trust Jaren. Sorry, Jaren said he is raised just in Jaren. I feel you, guy in the spice. And disclaimer, y'all, I was also raised I was born and raised Roman Catholic myself, right? However, I did see the light. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was born and raised Roman Catholic. I was an altar boy, all that. I wasn't the best Catholic, right? It is what it is, right? But I was born and raised Catholic myself. But my thing is, I came to see the light, see the truth for what it is, to see the earth for what it is. So me, I'm all about the truth. At the end of the day, that's all I want. Just like you guys that are here and we share this channel together, all I want is the truth. Half, what's good, brother? Jimmy Satterfield, bro, what's good, man? Man, it's always a pleasure to see you, brother. It's always a pleasure. This guy's pointing out that the false sun is to prove the 24-hour sun in Antarctica like it is in Alaska. That's true. To prove the North and South Pole are the same on a sphere, correct? No, that's true. That's true. And me, I've been lucky enough to go to Alaska during the summertime where we could see 24 hours of daylight. You know what I'm saying? We had 24 hours of daylight. It got slightly dim. And then when the sun was finally out, and this was like around August time frame. So I got to witness some of that effect myself, right? And it was sunny. Hello, man. But what channel is organized? Too much confusion all over the place with vids. No, that's true. Soul searching, long live streams. This won't help. Guy in the Spice, I'd have to agree with you. I would tend to agree. That don't help. Hey, Rob Skiba, yeah, Rob Skiba was a big loss. And so Rethink Inc., that's a good point. Rob Skiba was a big loss. I don't like the fact that Jaren and me, like I try to give these guys as much rope as possible before they hang themselves, or they could do something good with the rope. But Jaren and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from Austin Whitson. So to me, they are allies in what we consider the true Earth, right? What we're experiencing as the true Earth and seeing for the first time ever. Another thing, part of this whole experiment process, I feel is another way to divide the true Earth community. We have enough fucking division in this world as it is. We don't need any more division in any more communities. It's annoying. It is really annoying. We just want the truth. That's it. Being smart doesn't mean knowing the mainstream narrative. You're right. If the globe was true, The globe would worry about false model. Truth doesn't fear investigation, and the globe is terrified. And you're absolutely right, Mr. Jones. And I feel that this is like a team of evil. I'm sure there's a better word instead of team out there, but I'm not using it. But this is like a team of evil. It's just unfortunate and it's sad that these guys are lying the way they're lying. But I warned them, and we warned them, and we need to continue to warn them and show them, hey, if you don't change, if you don't change your mind and you don't change your path, we're holding you motherfuckers accountable. Like that's it. Like all bets are off. We're not playing games with you. No, you don't have to attack them or harm them and anything like that. But when they lie like that and they do it in such a public and open fashion, you need to remind everybody. You're the one that wanted us to do this poke. You're also the same people that wanted us to live on this globe, and you've been pushing this globe, and what's an obvious lie, you've been pushing it, and you've been knowingly lying, and we're here to let the world know who you are. Why? Because our children need this truth. They need it. We've seen the truth. They need to see it. If they haven't seen it already, they need to be brainwashed with good brainwashing, with clean things. If you're going to brainwash somebody, brainwash them with things that will help promote their life, will bring positive joy and influences into their life, not no lies. We've had enough lies. We were Generation X, Generation Next, whatever, Y. We've had enough lies. Let us take and be the lie sponge, and we could purge for ourselves, but let's feed our kids something different, something better. So, no longer on the ball. What's good, bro? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. I think I didn't see your interview with Vika. I think you had an interview with him. I think I missed it, but hopefully I get to see it. I haven't seen Vika in a while either. Been looking for him. Yeah, no longer on. If you guys haven't subbed to No Longer on the Globe, check on No Longer on the Ball. Check him out. Sub to his stuff. It's a good dude. He's also part of the team. We're also working on some stuff. He's a good guy to have on your side. Trying to also build cities with nobody living in them. That's a really good point, Jimmy Satterfield. They have the fake cities, fake Parises and the fake New Yorks. No longer a ball. GTSY, Canyon Spice. Yes, you already sound like you're defensive when talking. Yeah, no. No, I feel you, guy in the Spice. It's not an offense. Wait, one. It's not an offense, but rather, what I want you to realize is that it's not an offense. I speak with passion. I speak with truth and I speak with passion. I don't pull any punches. I don't like pulling punches, right? Maybe I need to slow it down a little bit and I need to pull some punches. All right, that's debatable. I'm going to be myself, and hey, myself is what I give you every week, right? I don't try to fake it with y'all. And so I may sound defensive, okay? Maybe I could add a little bit of water to my wine, but you want to know something? I can't be Austin. I'm sorry. Austin is who Austin is. If you want to see Austin, you're gonna see Austin. Maybe I could tone it down a little bit, but no, like we're at a point now to where we need. I'm not telling y'all what to do or how to live, but people need to be called out. These politicians aren't getting enough people calling them out, right? And of course, we have to. When we call them out, we need to live accordingly, and we need to make certain and different moves. I get that, right? But these liars, like, they need to be called out as liars. That's it. And they need to be held accountable, whether they get demonetized from us, but you show their viewers who's telling the truth, right? And the reason I say things like that, and the reason I come with such force when I say these things, is because, like, you have those things like a global pandemic that just we're barely out of, right? We're probably going to go into something quite similar with this bird flu, right? There's a possibility of that, and not enough people remember, and not enough people take those things seriously, because even though many of us within the community and without the community, right, outside the community, have said things like, I don't think that this is a good idea, and here are my reasons why. You had a lot of liars that were out there, and what did it do? It costed a lot of lives. So to me, life is important, right? And if that means you have to ruffle some feathers just to save a few lives, it is what it is. It is what it is. But at the same time, when you speak like that with such passion, when I speak like this with such passion, at least people can say, well, he did try to tell us. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you agree with my methods on how I approach you and give you the truth, I do it out of a place of love. All the time, it's truly what I'm doing to give you some kind of news, right? And I do it out of love. I do it from the bottom of my heart, but it's who I am. That's all I'm going to speak about on that. No longer on the globe. Galahad 007. The flat earth truth is one golden rule. Never ever trust a bagel and control every aspect of your life and stick together like glue. That's right. You need to stick together like glue. They will all deceive you. It's a DNA thing. Wow. Wow, that's deep. Galahad 007, brother. Good to have you, man. Satterfield, half. All right. Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Yeah, Alan Nostrin, brother. It's good to see you, man. And you've been dropping some good stuff lately. If you guys haven't subbed to Alan Nostrin, check him out. Good brother, man. He's got some good stuff daily. He be putting stuff out daily. So sub to him, check him out. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Nano CBD, brother. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you, man. And thank you, Hap. I appreciate you. It's good to see you, Nano. All right, so okay, I'm over here popping my gums. I apologize, y'all. Let's get back to the video. But before we get back to the video, I want you guys to remember this. We need to stick together. And just like Galahad 007 just said so eloquently, his bottom line was we definitely need to stick together. We need to stick together, right? Because at the end of the day, we're probably all we got. People are going to ridicule us. That's expected. People are going to talk shit about us. That's expected. But we are what we have. We're our small little team, but we're a powerful team because when the truth in numbers truth is powerful, but truth in numbers is even more powerful. I want y'all to remember that. Don't let this experiment and stuff like that break us apart, divide us, because I feel a lot of this experiment is out there to do just that. And divided, you already know the corniness behind it. Divided we stand, united we stand, divided we fall. Right? It's so true, especially now these days. So be vigilant and keep close attention to that. All right, let's get back to the video. Let's get back to it, y'all.
That came out very suspiciously around. They never existed before 2015, but they came out shortly after the flat earth thing became more mainstream. I'm actually going to cover more details on this Frozen South video here shown that we basically suggest that there's some artifacts that are suggesting that they're covering up the sun actually setting in that video. So we'll kind of briefly go over that a little bit later. Yeah, like there's a lot of these fakery with these 24-hour sun videos that again never existed before flat earth was really a thing, and then they just popped up out of nowhere when it became relevant and were proven faked. We're also going to go. I also went over the webcam footage that they cut 10 hours out of the South Pole webcam footage at the South Pole literally every day of the entire year, every day of every month. So they cut it out 10 hours every day, and then you can also notice they're not showing it here, but there's all the other several webcam footages that they show the shadows actually coinciding in tandem with the sun's movement, which is impossible. Like that defies the optics of in physics of reality, and it just goes to show you that it's not because of connection issues or satellite coverage, intermittent satellite coverage. They're actually faking these and cutting them in-house. And the web manager even states in emails that they take the webcams automatically cut the scene out, the frames out when they don't detect sun movement, which would kind of imply that the sun is setting. So covered that. We also covered some fakery from previous globe propagandist events with some flights that were supposed to fly over Antarctica, and they never actually happened. And a lot of these flights were, they kind of popped up again around the time of when flat Earth was a thing. And it's funny because, back in 2016, we have somebody that recorded a Google image search of people can fly over Antarctica, and if it's guarded, and it said it was a guarded no-fly zone back in 2016, and nobody's ever flown over it. But then it changed in 2017 or 2018 when they had the algorithm apocalypse. They changed it to where it is no longer a no-fly zone, and people fly over it all the time or have.
So that's a really good point. But Guy in the Spice, you mentioned something that maybe we need to think about. Definitely, maybe I need to think about as well. So billionaire risk their own money for Glober simulator to mess up. So that's a really good point. That's a really good point. But maybe we're being a little bit short-sighted on that. But I still sincerely feel that these guys will not. But because even liars will get caught in lies, right? And they make messy lies, kind of like the moon landing, 9/11. These are messy lies, right? 9/11, and then the passports just fall out the sky. Meanwhile, the black box goes missing. Kind of bullshit is that? Right? So I feel you, Guy in the Spice. But when liars lie, sometimes they may be more short-sighted than we think, right? And maybe we may not be seeing it like you see it, but I feel that there may be a fake sun, kind of like he says. And to Flatworks' credit, man, kudos to you, man. Flatworks, kudos to you, brother, for pointing that out and explaining this so eloquently instead of my super raw way and saying, hey, man, they'll fake it, they'll lie about it. When Jaron was like, why would I go out there and do this? And basically I said, because they lied before, they'll lie again. That's why we don't want them to go. And if you think about it, guys like Jaron and Austin Whitsitt could go out and they could run this experiment. And I think it was Sovereign Soul that brought up a really good point. Anytime a lot of these points get mentioned, I want to give these guys the credit where credit's due. So I'll bring up their name because I don't want to steal something that they miraculously came up with. But when Sovereign Soul, like last week, he brought up a really good point. Sovereign Soul of the Unchained Mind. Check him out. Subscribe to him. Awesome channel. He said that they can go ahead. Jared and them could go ahead. They could witness the sun not being a 24-hour sun. Then what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have the alphabet agencies get a hold of them and say, here's a packet of money, here's a bunch of money, here's a bunch of subs on YouTube. And I'm going to kind of wrap my point up with what I think afterwards. But here's your subs on YouTube, here's a bunch of money. You talk about it, your kids are dead. That's it. That's it. And it sounds cruel and it sounds crude, but these people will go to lengths like that just to protect their agenda, just to further an agenda, right? And so guys like Austin and guys like Jeremy will come back, tail tucked between their legs, and then they're going to have to eat shit. And then what's that going to do? It may very well split the community, right? And then it may very well, these guys would lose so much credibility. And it is what it is. Like shit like that is real. Stuff like this happens. And if you don't play ball, what happens? You get erased. Your kids, something happens to your family, right? This is what happened to Bill Cooper. This is what happened to Bill Cooper and his family. If you guys remember that book, Behold the Pale Horse, Bill Cooper also had not a podcast, but he also had a radio show on a radio station, right? He predicted 9/11. A few months later, they killed him. Killed him, family goes missing. Like guys like him, guys like Phil Schneider, the guy that went to those underground tunnels and came across these entities. And then he spoke out about it, and then they end up erasing him. So these things, they're not outside of the realm of possibility, especially when you see things and phenomena like the true earth being demonetized, people that talk about the true earth being demonetized. This is why you don't see channels like Redacted and the Jimmy Dore Show that have millions of followers. Guys like Russell Brand, they don't talk about the true earth because these guys will get demonetized. They know that they've got their million followers. They go on the edge of what the truth is. They don't go any further because they got that paper coming in. They speak any further and things will happen and they won't like it. They'll lose their subs and then possibly even worse. So then if these guys, and this is me speculating, all this hasn't happened, but this is just where my brain goes, and I'm sure much of where you guys' brains go as well. If these guys were to go out there, they get touched by the alphabet agencies and they're warned, right? And told, hey, if you speak about it, you know it's going to happen, right? I think Alex Jones pretty much got the lightest of the treatment, right? He got a super light sentence. Thank God. I don't hate Alex Jones. I like his material. I have liked his material. I'm not going to call him a shill or anything like that. Some people may disagree. I get it. But he's brought many of us to where we are now, right? So you got to give him some credit at least. But Guyana Spice, I feel where you're coming from. I totally feel where you're coming from, and I understand where that energy's at. But I want y'all to keep in mind we can't let this stuff divide us. We need to follow the truth and where it goes, but it's better when we do it together, and I hope that makes sense. All right, let's go back to this production.
Have flown over it. So just goes to show you that Google and YouTube, they change their narrative and they change their answers to, manipulate the mainstream narrative. And they've been caught doing that. So just a lot of lying with these flights that have happened in the past. So we also covered a few, I guess if you want to call them whistleblowers, that were stationed in Antarctica. This guy here was actually stationed there for 18 months. Now, from kind of what I had heard, did a little reading. From what I remember, I believe he's at 3 different stations during the 18 months, and 2 of them, the stations would have been around closer to 60 or 70 degrees where you wouldn't observe a 24-hour sun, but one of the stations was farther inland, like beyond 75 degrees south, where if there was a 24-hour sun, you would observe it. And he said, during the 18 months he was there, he never observed a 24-hour sun. And he actually observed it make an actual, like a 180 degree half loop instead of a 360 around your head, and actually watched it come and go, as he stated. It would rise and then it would set. And that's what he observed the sun doing while he was there for 18 months. So that was pretty interesting, that he came out with the sun setting in Antarctica during the summer.
Half warrior, brother. I apologize for that. Good night, brother. Good night, man. You have a good night, man, and it's good having you tonight. Sorry to be starting so late, but you have a good night, man. Thank you.
But there was, other whistleblowers that actually had also came out. There was one that was a former NASA employee who's now a flat earther, and he came out. He was there for like 6 months in Antarctica, and he came out and he spoke with Austin Whitsitt and said that there is no 24-hour sun there, and they cover it up, and it's the sun sets, and so he's apparently supposed to be coming on one of the episodes of Austin Whitsitt's episodes on his show. So definitely keep an eye out for that and stay updated. The other one was Mike Horn. He did an expedition in Antarctica back in 2017. And he claimed while the time he was there, there's an article that had stated that he had observed the sun setting. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into how the 24 hours of daylight actually works on the flat model.
So this is day and night, and it's showing you how the light works throughout the year. So when it wraps around, that's December, and this is June.
All right, you guys, this is Flat Earth Dave. You know what he's going to bring. You know how he brings it. Flat Earth Dave has his own style, and I got it. Before we let Flat Earth Dave continue, we have to give credit where credit's due. Dave, he brings the truth. Yes, sometimes when he does bring the truth, he mixes his views on things. Right. That's not saying that it's a lie, but a lot of these things aren't fully concrete. Right. So a lot of this is speculation. I give Flat Earth Dave mad credit, mad props, because he now understands it. And it's important to point out, hey, these are my views. This isn't solid fact. You know what I'm saying? So when people could change, but for the change for the sake of getting the truth out there, you got to give these guys credit when the credit's due. If you can remember, definitely give these guys the credit where it's due, because that's so important, especially in the time that we live in, that we don't mix the actual truth that's based on what's provable with your own thoughts or with possibilities, because now it just starts making people look crazy, and then you lose a lot of credibility that way. So shout out to Flat Earth Dave for that. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue.
And it's just, if I'm showing you, I'm moving the light on the outside, it makes the same shape. It kind of wraps around. So when you're far enough south in December, there's 24 hours of light. Daylight is different than sunlight, right? And you can prove that because even before the sun rises, it's light outside. The sun's below the horizon. Here, it's light for an hour before the sun rises. And you can read a newspaper on the back side of on the opposite side of your house as the sun, because things are different down there. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west for you too. Okay, it's just the north and south that are different. So the sun's rising in the east. I could be on the west side of my house and I could read. I can read a book. And the sun hasn't even risen yet. The sun's on the other side of my house. That's because it's lighting up the sky. The sky, if you think about a photographer, they got their backlight, that's the sky, and then they got their direct light, their flashlight, that's the sun. And if they only had their flashlight, it kind of everything would be like the Blair Witch Project. So the sky is a light itself, and the sun, in my understanding, is everything is electric and magnetic. Everything has electrostatics. The sky is just the sun is exciting the molecules in the air, and most of the gases up high are nitrogen, and nitrogen fluoresces blue.
That's right.
And that's why we have nice colorful sunsets, because you're seeing it, hit the neon and all of the other gases, and you get these colorful sunsets. So that's how it works right there. That's my answer right there. It matches with experiment. This is something very interesting that you guys can do. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. It's very, very simple. And they're like, well, maybe some places in Australia in December, it gets dark very fast. And then in June, it doesn't, but it varies differently no matter where you are. Because if you live on a low-lying area and there's just water around you, you're going to have different light characteristics, different sunset characteristics than somebody that has mountains in the distance, even if they can't see them. Okay. So in the heliocentric model, 60 degrees north is the same as 60 degrees south. It's the same thing. So 6 months apart, those areas should have the exact same light characteristics.
Right here, this is so true. And I want you guys to kind of, go with this. If you guys learn anything and you go with anything, right? Doesn't matter whether we talk about maps, whether we talk about who's doing this experiment or that. Guidance Spice, you spelt it right. Hit the nail right on the head. Elites enjoying true flat earth reality. True flat earth reality, while the globers make us all suffer, whether you believe in the globe or not, make us all suffer in their false space globe reality. These are things I share and joke with people with, and they get it then. Yeah, but it's the truth. That's it. That's what the truth is. I like that. Let's continue.
And again, your topography determines, how your sunsets happen. But in the flat earth model, when the sun is out over Capricorn in December, it's moving faster. And then when it's over Cancer, it's moving slower. So that should be something we can measure. And we found out that it actually is. So here in June, when the sun sets in Connecticut, where I am, it's light for 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours. There's still lingering light for almost 2 hours. And in December, it gets dark in 15 minutes after the sun sets. So from my location, from June to December, the time from sunset, the edge of the sun disappears, to darkness gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, all the way to December. And then it starts getting longer and longer and longer. Now, if the Earth were a sphere, and
that is true, Mr. Jones, that is the truth. And I will not argue that ever. That's the absolute truth.
whatever I'm 34 degrees north, so 34 degrees south, as my sunset to darkness is getting shorter, that person in the opposite should be getting longer. In the heliocentric model, it should be getting longer. It doesn't matter if it's what time, what the amount of time, because that's different for every location, every latitude, the topography.
True.
It's just your time from sunset to darkness should be getting longer, but it gets shorter for everyone on Earth. Even you guys now go out, and this is the thing, people are very lazy, right? Go out and, so first you'd have to go out every night. You'd have to get a clear view of the sunset. You'd have to mark the time. Then you have to stay there and time it until it's really dark and get accurate times. And very few people can do that, but we have people all over the world doing it.
Yeah, like if you live in a place like Spain, if you live in a place like Washington State, even it's daylight outside right now. It's still light out. You could go out. You could play some basketball, freeze tag, whatever the hell, if you're young and you still do that. You could go out in the street and you could play these games, right? You could still see what the hell's going on outside and in front of your hands. You can still see these things because it's daylight. That's what the summertime brings. I remember being out in Spain and stuff during the summertime, be 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. Dudes out there playing basketball still got light outside. Some of the craziest stuff. So yeah. This is the reality of the world that we live on.
And everyone's noticing it gets shorter. And right now, for everyone, as we're heading into the northern inner summer, it's getting longer for everybody, including you guys. That absolutely destroys the heliocentric model. The problem is,
with actual scientific evidence that not only do they circle us, but the sun changes its speed and its location where it rises throughout the year. Now, if you look at this beautiful sky clock overlaid with the flat Earth map, you can see that every 24 hours, the sun is doing a loop, which creates night and day, and the moon is doing the same thing, but about every 25 hours. Now, what the sun also does is it makes smaller circles in the northern hemisphere during our summer months, so June, July, August, September, and it starts to make larger circles and increase its speed as we move to winter in the northern hemisphere and the south moves to their summer because the sun is closer to them. And this is evident based on how long daylight lasts as the sun is set. Now, like I said, there is evidence that the sun picks up its speed, which you would have to do to make larger loops.
True.
And this isn't just a theory. Like I said, there's evidence I'm going to show you. And not only that, but I'm going to show you evidence of the sun rising in a different location from month to month to month based on exactly what I'm saying here. What I quickly want to show you is that a general time-lapse photography video is about 30 frames per second. That's the standard. Now keep that in mind as I show you these next two quick videos. So this is the Mackinac Bridge in Michigan in the winter, clearly with the ice. And I just want you to watch how fast the sun sets because it's moving faster in the winter months and how fast the daylight goes away. Real fast. Now, same bridge, very similar location. The sun is starting in a very similar location. And this video takes about 3 minutes in the same time-lapse speed. And I'll wait here for a second and you will see the sun sets extremely slow in the summer compared to in the winter months when it has to be moving faster to make those larger loops around the flat realm you live in. I'm going to stop it here and skip ahead a little and you'll see the daylight slowly goes away instead of the winter when it's gone in an instant. Now, again, I'm going to let this just play for a second, but I want you to think back to winter times. When the sun goes down, it gets dark real fast. And in the summer, when the sun goes beyond the horizon or to the vanishing point where you can no longer see its light, the light from the sun still lasts because it's moving much, much slower. And again, just to compare that to how quickly it sets here, watch how fast this is moving in the wintertime. Same time-lapse speed. This video is 17 seconds. The other one's 5 minutes. Dark. Okay, so what I want to do now is show you the location of the sun and how it changes from month to month based on its rotation around the flat realm. Now, this is November. That direction is south towards Chicago, and it's right above the scoreboard. So remember, above the scoreboard, November. Now, it's not above, it's December. It's gone further south, like it does until the winter solstice, where it'll continue to go and then start coming back. Okay, so it's January now. It's hit the winter solstice. It's raised over there, and now it's starting to make its way back north. So February, it's now north of the scoreboard. March, it's further north of the scoreboard because now it's starting to head towards summer, where the sun is going to be circling.
You go to sun arcs just to look at what they look like. Okay, so when we just saw that thing that said all images, this is what they were showing, is these kind of effects.
Now, pay special attention to this because I thought this is what Flatworks was showing originally until I actually sat back and listened and watched. But listen, pay close attention to what Jaron is showing right here.
And when you see this, or we see this, and you go to a coffee cup caustic, let's see, we'll go this one. So if I do coffee cup caustic, we'll see that that's exactly the same thing. So go here, go images. All right, so you see this effect that it's happening coming out of this glass. It's happening in this coffee cup. No, it doesn't mean we live in a coffee cup. Anybody who surmises that is has lost their mind. But you can see these effects that happen because of it, and it just so happens that we're seeing the same effects in reality. So that should tell us that we need to start looking around the ideas of the lens, of water, of reflection, of refraction. That's what's happening. Is you've got the light source on the other side lighting up the entire other portions. You know, the light's on the right here coming through, lighting up this. And when we look at sun arcs, it's the same thing. This is almost to a T. It's identical. Now they want to tell you some nonsense about this, that it's ice crystals in the sky and that they're at the perfect angle. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So just wanted to show that the coffee cup caustic is what's happening. Now, how is it happening? What is causing it to happen? That we don't know, you know, but when you look at this and you go back and look at these, we're seeing the same exact effect. So we need to, here's a simulator, it looks like, showing that here's your point source of light, nephroid caustic in a coffee cup, showing how you get this reflection, but you've got this whole outer area is being lit when the point source of light is here. So, you know, it's not as simple as to say, oh, well, you know, there's 24-hour light in Antarctica. And, you know, all right. So if we are looking at the flat Earth like this, and I'm just going to draw a quick drawing. So let's say that we've got North America here. Sorry for my bad drawing. And then South America is here. Okay. And then you've got, you know, Africa, and you've got Australia, whatever. Okay. So if we fly down to Punta Arenas here, and then we fly out 4 hours somewhere, well, we probably didn't go over here, and we probably didn't go over here. And if we flew north, we would be back at the equator, probably not going to be looking like Antarctica. And if we go south, we're going to be somewhere here. Okay. So then we can say that the sun is going around this way. And let me grab a light source. We're going to do a point source of light. Oops. Finish drawing. Light source, point source. Okay, there we go. And let me up the raise a little bit. and ray density. Okay, so now we bring it in here and we look at the sun again. It's not, it doesn't have, this kind of has an infinity carry. Obviously the sun is going to have a much, I can even kind of do like that, little smaller carry of light. So as the sun comes around, and what you can do is you can put this button here, which says seen by observer. And I'm going to grab an observer. I'm going to put him out here to kind of look at this. Oops, move. I just dropped another light accidentally. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So if you look, when this sun comes around, watch the orange. The orange is what the observer sees. Okay. So the observer here doesn't see the actual sun. He sees the sun here, which again, I did something wrong. I was talking about when somebody is actually at South America. There we go. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Let me go light source here. Oops. Get out of there. Okay. So let's put them right off there. All right. So when this thing comes around, you can see the orange sun. See how it's rising here? So it's rising south of their west, and then it's going to arc over their sky in the north, and then it's going to set south of, watch this setting south of west. Okay. Now, the problem is that this stops as this sun's going away from you to go all the way around the earth and come back again this side. There is no observer able to see behind them this sun appear to go behind you. And if it did, how would it would have to like match up. You only see the orange part, you only see the orange part, you only see the orange part. Even if you had another sun coming from this way, from another outer land or something, well, it would have to coincide perfectly to match with this one, that it passes by and they become one, but you couldn't have seen it coming and you can't see it going. And then it has to rope around your back. So that's the problem, and why these guys bit off more than they can chew. What happens is we're going to actually see, in my opinion, here comes the sun. We're going to see it rise, and then it would stay up in the sky a long time. We'd see it cross our horizon. It would start to set here. It's kind of, you might even start to see it coming this way, and then they'd say, all right, everybody go to bed. It's 10 p.m. Lights out, camp lights out.
Yeah.
We get up at 8 in the morning. You guys got skiing to do tomorrow, and you've got a long day in front of you. Go to bed. Everybody goes to bed. And then you have what's called the coffee cup caustic. The coffee cup caustic is when this thing gets too close to the outside. Let's go with, instead of seen by observer, we're going to go with all rays. Okay. And when this thing gets too close to the outside, this happens. And then you have a 24-hour of light as this sun travels the backside of the earth. So everybody here in their tent thinks that the sun is out, thinks that the sun is there, calls it a 24-hour sun. It's daylight for 24 hours, but nobody would actually see the sun in the sky because it's not there. And then it would come back around 7 in the morning or so. It's going to begin to do that rise that we just talked about. Whereas you're going to see this orange start to rise. Everybody comes out of their tent and there's the sun again. That's your 24-hour sun in Antarctica. That's what I think happens. But I
totally think it's worth doing this. I'm going to do it.
All right. So Jaron explained why Flatworks went ahead, broke it down also. But now let's remember, let's give credit where credit's due also. This is something that Jaron had observed from looking at previous Antarctica videos a few years back, right? That they cut out a portion of time, like 8 to 10 hours or so, every single day when the sun is further south, right? And Flatworks kind of expounded on that and showed it in this production as well, that 8 to 10 hours are cut during those months where the sun is closest to the ice ring, right? Or the ring, the outside ring. And so these observations is what Jaron's talking about. And that's something to play off of, and that's something to keep in mind, which of course we know that, right? Here's the thing. We know that, or we think we know that. I haven't been down south during that time of year, that part of the south, and many of us, neither have we. So we don't truly know. That's the only thing about this observation in this experiment, is that we don't truly know. Now, these guys go out there and something happens, or they get reached, or they get touched. How do we know, right? We don't. So this is why this experiment is so dangerous. This is why this experiment is such a deal, and it's pretty much got us in the true and flat earth in our feelings about it, right? Because we've been lied to so much. This is something basically, these are things that we can control, right? And I think that's part of why many of us are getting bothered with this experiment, because we really don't here are two of the bigger hitters in the true Earth community, right? Jaron Campanella, Austin Whitson, two guys. I know a lot of folks have feelings towards them, and I understand. I understand people have their feelings, people have their opinions. I think I feel I don't share the same opinions as some folks, and that's okay, right? We can have differing opinions. But as long as we come to the same bottom line, this bitch ain't turning, this bitch ain't moving, right? And it's flat. Wherever we go, it's flat. I mean, with the exceptions of mountains and valleys and stuff, it is flat and it's even, it's plain. But these guys still have a voice, a very powerful voice in this community. So if something happens to them, it could very well shift the dynamic of how we continue as a community. It could. I'm not saying it will, but it could. It could have a profound effect on how the community continues in the future. This is why many of us may be getting up in our feelings. This is why I'm kind of bothered. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit bothered by how this experiment could potentially turn out. At the end of the day, it's not going to change the composition of this world. It's not going to change anything. Half Warrior said that. That's not going to change. The world's still going to be flat. It don't matter. The problem I have are still the liars that we come across. The problem I have are the McToons, the flight to flat earth, what's his name? Simon Dan, not a Professor Dave or a freaking prostitute Dave. That's what I'm going to start calling him. Hate having to make fun of a motherfucker when he's not here to defend himself. But prostitute Dave is one of those lies. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, I'm calling him prostitute Dave because he knows what the truth is, but he's prostituting himself with lies, still allowing folks to go ahead and pay his way. A couple of months back when I made a video of him lying about how, Earth's or how planes fly, calling Eric Dubé stupid and his 200 proofs that the Earth is not a ball, right? His book, making fun of him, talking shit about him, making fun of him because he meditates, because he's into the whole Buddhist movement, right? Just talking shit about him and his personal stuff. If he could talk shit about Eric Dubé being a liar, that's one thing. But Professor Dave is knowingly coming out and lying to everybody about this business. Y'all know what I'm saying? And with him doing that, I have no problem calling him prostitute Dave, because he's prostituting himself with lies. He's prostituting himself, getting paid to lie to us, getting paid to lead us astray into the lake of fire. And so I have a problem with that. And so, yes, people like that need to be held accountable. People like that need to be put on blast at every fucking turn. We need to come out and we need to call these liars out for who they are, because there's not enough of that going on. When you label these people the liars that they are, maybe then they'll stop and they'll think about what it is they're doing, no matter how much money they're making.
All right, look. Okay, if you look at this right here. Okay, watch. We're gonna have the sun. So in the north, it's in the summer of the north, right? It's gonna move like this, right? Now it's gonna move out to the outside, and you see what happens? It starts to light up the whole outside. You see that? See how it's lit up on the other side of the flashlight here? Yeah, it's called the coffee cup caustic. The light wraps around. Do you see how the whole outside is lit up? You see that? That explains 24-hour daylight. That explains longer days. That explains everything. It's a real effect that happens as it gets further out. Look, it starts to cover more and more of it. And you go back to the north. Now it's not going to do that. It's just going to cover up. Why is it not light the whole time? Well, because it doesn't light up the whole Earth the whole time. You have to move it further or get it a little bit closer in relation to its diameter. But again, you see it lights up the whole outside right there. It's a very cool effect. It's a real thing. So there's that.
Let's look back at the midnight sun now.
And Galahad 007, that's a very good point. I tend to agree. What Galahad 007 is saying, and welcome, Galahad, welcome. This is all a misdirection just to keep you focused on Antarctica, when the true relevant secrets we need exposed are in the north, the seat of our creator. I agree that there is a misdirection effort going on here. I agree that there's a lot to be gleaned from what's going on in the north as well, because that's something that we never talk about. The last couple of weeks, That's something that we've been kind of hinting on. We've been kind of touching on it a little bit, looking and observing the maps. And I'll tell you what, Guyana Spice, you're going to hate me for it. I get it. And I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to bring it back to the video. But when I looked at that picture of Gerardus Mercator, and I bounced it off of his map, right, with the Rufus Negra in the middle, and I looked at the Urbano Monte map with the same, with not Rufus Negra, but it shows the 4 continents in the middle of this world, then it's like I was just flabbergasted, and I was taken to a whole different place looking at the maps, looking at that picture of Gerardus Mercator. And now I'm looking to see if I could find a picture anywhere with John D in the picture, with a compass in the picture, with the world or a globe or something in that picture showing him, right? Because I think they're with all these pieces of art, they don't just make these when these pieces of art were painted, they don't just paint them just to paint them. These paintings are a story to some degree, much like the Sistine Chapel, right? They tell a story. So when a lot of these painters paint, they're describing to you something. I'm not claiming to know exactly what it is they're trying to tell us, but this is why it takes an effort of the village to kind of take it and break it down based off of what it is we're learning, the things that we're learning and relearning, and some of the things that we know to be true, right? Or we think we know to be true. So I feel you. That's something that we need to kind of look at, right? Is this this North Pole, the North Pole and the North Pole area, because it's not getting as much love as the South is getting, like every day in the Flat Earth and True Earth community. You know, voters refuse to take the reality into account. That's right. When supporting an absurd, ridiculous model. Absolutely, Mr. Jones. Absolutely. So because we're showing them the truth, no flat earther wants to come out. Nobody wants, whether you're telling the truth or a lie, nobody likes being called a liar, even if you're telling the truth. Nobody likes getting their feelings hurt. Nobody likes being made fun of, ridiculed. It doesn't matter how right you are. It's not a good feeling. Getting all this negative attention and negative press is never a good feeling. So, like, it puzzles me when you have Globe folks coming out and saying that we're lying. Like, why would we, like, what do we gain to lie? We see the lie, right? We've been brought into the lake of fire just like everybody else, right? We've been introduced and indoctrinated into it, and then we just found our way out of the maze, or we're finding our way out of the maze, because now at least we know we're in a maze. At least we know it. We're cognizant. That's where I think we're at with this True Earth thing, because we don't truly know what the hell it is we're on, where we are. You know, we're still figuring, and we're learning it. We're seeing these new puzzles. So I don't see what benefit it brings us, especially when we're not making any money, right? We're not making no money. We're not getting no fame or nothing like that. We're just finding out this truth, and we're just learning about this truth, and we're just spreading this truth. And I think, and you know what? I'm gonna give you guys a round of applause, man, and I'm gonna commend you guys, because just as much, and I could tell by the passion in your words and how it is we write to one another, we communicate with each other, that you're looking for the truth just as bad as I'm looking for the truth. And we're trying to deliver this message to as many people as possible. And it's so important and it's so critical to understand these things that it gets you frustrated with people of the globe that are trying to hamper you on purpose. And here's the thing: if they didn't know that it was true, they would slow down, and they wouldn't be coming out with these lies like they are. If they knew how true the flat and true Earth is, if they knew how true it is, and if they knew that their parent, which I feel that a lot of them know that the globe is a lie and they're losing it, right? I feel that a lot of them are afraid that they're not going to. Star Wars isn't going to taste the same. You know, once you find out you're eating goat nuts, it doesn't taste like meatballs anymore. Now it tastes like goat nuts. You know what I'm saying? Now you're eating right underneath a goat's penis. You're eating goat balls. right? Remember, I don't know if you guys ever saw fucking The Lost Boys. Remember Michael? Michael, you're eating worms, Michael, right? Oh, what's his name was eating that Chinese food with Kiefer Sutherland. Y'all remember that part? Michael, you're not eating rice. They're maggots. And now Michael's looking at that piece of them rices, and then he's like, God, dog, man, it's maggots the whole time I've been eating. So they don't want their rice to turn into maggots. They don't want their Star Wars not hitting the same. They don't want their Star Trek not hitting the same. And damn it, I'll tell you what, I grew up with these things. We grew up with Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, Star Wars, Spaceballs, all that. Only to find out that that stuff is a lie. I don't know about you, but I no longer watch Star Trek. And I was getting into a show called The Orville. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you ever seen it, but I was getting into that. It's like a Star Trek for poor folks. It's a good show. Getting into a show like that, but now to learn what this world truly is, but rather what this world truly is not, it just don't hit the same. These Globers are afraid of letting go and experiencing it. And they don't know the turn that their life would take. I would imagine that it would take a turn for the best. But they don't want to even go there. They don't want to tread there. So they spread lies. And it's unfortunate for them because the more this flat earth starts taking hold and the more traction it gets, the more dangerous we become. Just keep that in mind. Let's continue.
This is a big issue. Based on current cosmology, if the Earth is a ball, then the North Pole and the South Pole have to be the complete same but opposite, when one is facing the sun versus when the other is facing the sun. For example, Norway gets all-day sun from April through August, and that's 400 miles from the 60-degree marker north. Well, if that's true, then if the Earth is a ball, the same areas opposite must be getting the same no sun.
CJ, I see this message, guys. I apologize. CJ says there has got to be some kind of device that can tell how far away it is from a transmitter. I don't know what you're talking about. What is from a transmitter, and then use this to prove versus flat, not a globe. I'm imagining that you're talking about the sun. I'm going to assume you're talking about the sun, but if not, like, let me know. Even send me a private message, right, as to what it is you're talking about. If you don't want to mix anybody up, because I'm curious as to what it is you're talking about. Let's continue.
In the south on the same days. Well, webcams will clearly show that it is quite a bit different in Antarctica than it is in the north. For instance, the north may get all-day sun, while the south is still getting a little bit of sun when they should be getting nothing but darkness. I'll show some webcams to prove this point. So the first question you might ask is, of course, well, what is the midnight sun and where can we see it? And if we take a look at the answers we get from Yahoo's answers.com, which I'm sure has nothing but the truth, right? It says, what months is Antarctica in total darkness? And they answer, oh, Antarctica is in total darkness all of September, October, November, December, January, February, and most of March. Well, this person didn't realize that that is the summer for the South, and they're not in all darkness for those months. It's ridiculous. So we'll look a little bit lower where we get NASA's answer. We know NASA never lies to us. NASA says that Antarctica has 6 months of darkness and 6 months of summer, and that the sun only rises and sets one time a year. That is complete and total bullshit. We'll see that in webcam footage in a minute. You'll see a little bit lower than their post is a post about the myth of the midnight sun, because it's a myth. That's exactly why. And I've said this many times. If somebody's lying to you, there's a reason, right? So we're lied to as kids about the polar sun or the midnight sun in the south and the midnight sun in the north. If it's a lie, there's a reason behind it. Wouldn't you agree? Now you'll see here there's a letter from somebody who works down at the Antarctic, and she's explaining when she gets to see the sun. And she says, of course, the same thing, that she sees 6 months of sun and 6 months of darkness. Simply not true. We'll look at webcam footage, which proves it. And she even says at the end, do you know why we get this? Well, it's because the Earth goes around the sun in 365 days. That completes a year. Okay, now we're going to look at some webcam footage And from this, we should be able to figure out really easily that Antarctica can't possibly be a continent on the bottom of the globe. I wanted to point this out. If you do see a black circle appear over the center of the sun, this article says that on occasion, because of the brightness of the center of the sun, it will mess up the image sensors on the camera, which creates a black dot right in the center of the sun. You can believe that if you want. I'll leave that up to you. If somebody researches it, though, there's probably some good information that you could find as to why we are seeing a black dot in the middle of the sun when it crosses the view of the camera. So we're going to be looking at
the Antarctic Sun, United States Antarctic Program, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. 50 years and counting. And this is from 2011, a cosmic ray observatory, longest running experiment in McMurdo. And it just goes on to say what they do. They measure the cosmic rays hitting in the atmosphere, blah, 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 stuff like that. But if there was a 24-hour sun going around you, they should have video of it. Right. I mean, it should have been there already. For 60 years, they've been down there every day recording the sun as much as possible. Or this is more an observatory for counting whatever they were saying, neutrinos or
neutrinos
blah,
in the
blah,
ice.
blah, blah. But it's a cosmic ray observatory. They're studying the sun and what it's doing to us. So you don't think that one of these scientists in the last 60 years have been like, hey, let's put a camera up and show people the 24-hour sun?
Somebody's saying
I want to be the first person.
Somebody here is saying, Jaron, it's
So now we're going to cover a little bit on these sun simulators, or more commonly referred to as solar simulators. And we're going to find out that there is tons of objective evidence that these exist through photos, video recordings, different webcam footages, and basically, videos showing these glitching out and having anomalies. And not only that, but showing them objectively being existing in Antarctica on several different webcams. The anomalies you're going to see here, they've been observed on, McMurdo's webcam, Newmeyer Station's webcam, Mawson's webcam, Case's webcam. All these anomalies have been observed on the webcams, and you're going to see here they all match up perfectly. But back to when Jaron was talking about in that previous clip there, he's talking about the black dot that's shown on these webcams. What it actually is it's a Fresnel lens. It's a Fresnel mirror lens that is on a double gyroscopic pivot, and this is all called out in the patents, the mechanisms. And when you pull it up on an infrared camera, that spinning Fresnel lens, it has a cold heat signature. It doesn't have a heat signature; it's cold. And that's, if you see here, these are the double gyroscopic components on the sun's solar simulator. That's where the Fresnel lens, the mirrored Fresnel lens, is attached to, and it spins on that solar simulator, and they catch that. And that's why I say that you can't actually, even if they try to use a solar simulator down there during this final experiment, they couldn't do it, because if you have infrared cameras and you have solar filters, there's no way it would be impossible to replicate the actual physical sun. You would catch the Fresnel lens, you'd catch different heat signatures, the shape wouldn't be right, the heat signatures would be different. It wouldn't even look the same. You can see here, look at it, it's flickering. This was in Nigeria. It's literally a solar simulator that's glitching. It's turning on and off. Thousands of people witnessed this. So
now that right there is a totally new phenomenon, and that's so key and so important, because like when they saw that and they observed this, all I'm thinking was, wait a minute, is that like the stroboscopic effect? And all right, big words. Basically, stroboscopic effect, like kind of like when you put a TV on and then you take your video camera, or you're watching a reproduction of something. Somebody's watching a video camera on a live TV, and then you see those stripes, right? The hertz rates are kind of like going off on each other. They're kind of like mismatched. So you have like a strobing. Anyway, that's what you get, mismatch effect. So I'm wondering if that's what they're getting from this false sun. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's continue.
yeah, they couldn't fake it with a solar simulator even if they tried, which is why I think they're going to do a lot of cloud covering. It's kind of a lot of people are predicting that because they literally can't fake it. So, but we're going to go ahead and dive in a little bit more into these solar simulators here.
Does NASA have a sun simulator? Well, the truth is, they have more than one. Hey everyone, this is Kevo, and welcome to another video for Right Side Up, the truth review channel for you. If you do a YouTube search for something like fake sun or sun simulator, you'll find videos that insist that NASA has a fake sun floating around in space to hide Planet X from our view. These videos cite patents and show images of what is claimed to be the real deal. And the first thing that I am going to tell you is that these are indeed the real deal. But this is just the tip of the proverbial iceberg, and I'm about to show you the real truth. In order to find and share the truth, you have to do a bit more than just watch someone else's video and then parrot the same ill-informed message. Regardless as to where you get your information from, I always suggest to do your own research. A few minutes searching and you will easily find that there are many patents for this type of technology. There are many companies involved in developing many versions of solar simulators with many different capabilities for many industries that have many requirements in relation to solar simulators, although predominantly for the research and development of products like solar panels, sunscreens, and glass, just to name a few. It's an industry that is expected to exceed $8 billion in worth by 2022. So why would NASA need a sun simulator? Is it to hide a planet that is in our skies? Now, in researching this, it has been more effort than just a simple click of the mouse and watching a video. Eventually, though, I've joined the dots and found the real truth. Let's go to the patent in question. Patent number 3239660, which is the patent that is cited as proof of NASA's evil sun simulator, is viewable on NASA's technical report server as a PDF scan of the original document, and it can also be found on Google Patents, which is easier to read, so we'll use that. I recommend that you take the time to read this in its entirety to get a better understanding. But for now, the main points are that this section is the initial description of the invention. Then we go into more detail through this section, followed by this what is claimed section. If you take the time to read, you will see that this section mentions for use in conjunction with a test chamber, and it mentions a small window in the chamber. The next section also mentions the test chamber and this window in the form of a lens. And in paragraphs 1 and 2 of the third section, the test chamber is mentioned yet again. So if your source of information is not telling you about this test chamber, then I would be asking the question, who is hiding what? I'll come back to the relevance of this chamber in a minute, but just a couple more things to note is that this patent seems to accommodate a range of variables in relation to design and capabilities. Okay, the first truth I would like to reveal is in regard to the many conspiracy channels that claim that this is a sun simulator, to which I say, you're right. It is a sun simulator. Sort of. Situated in Huntsville, Alabama, is NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. This area here is part of the Solar Thermal Facility, and some of the components are the heliostat mirror, a vacuum chamber, and a concentrator mirror. Look familiar? So here's how it works. The heliostat mirror, which is able to be angled to reflect the sun's light in the desired direction, is situated in this open area, and it reflects the sun's light about 50 meters across the field into the concentrator mirror, which is housed in this building. The mirror is made up of segments which are all set to beam the sun's light to a focal point, that being the window in the test chamber, which is positioned here in front of the mirror. So when I say that this is a sun simulator, sort of, I mean that because this actually uses the real sun's light, it is not really simulating the sun, rather concentrating and redirecting the natural sunlight. Okay.
Wow. Now that's a big deal. That right there is a big deal because looking at that quote unquote sun simulator and the way that guy described it, if we look at the James Webb Space Telescope, that kind of has that same kind of pattern to it as well, right? You have a couple of people that have been kind of saying something to this effect that the James Webb Space Telescope is like it's a false sun to some degrees, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know why somebody would say that, but I'm interested in hearing why they would say that and who kind of led them towards that path. But it looks like, hearing this and seeing that and hearing this man's explanation, like it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't shock me if they had something flying on a balloon, something up there doing just that. How the hell they do it, I have no idea. I have no clue how they even do it. But here's the thing. One thing I know is that you have teams like DARPA and you have the Chinese equivalent. I forgot their name, but they're like it's called something to the degree of like Wall 8 or Unit 85, something like that, some weird name, right? The Chinese have their version of DARPA, which is their like leading cutting edge scientists, engineers, and the like that have crazy technology. They have crazy tech, and then you know how certain cultures are. They like to copycat, right? They like to bite off people, and you may have some that they make the same exact thing. So there's that. But this is wild. This is wild, and it gets crazy and crazier, I'm sure.
Truth number 2. At the same space facility is a piece of equipment that NASA calls HISET, which stands for High Intensity Solar Environment Test System. This system comprises of a vacuum chamber that is capable of creating an environment of extreme cold and extreme heat at the same time, and it is used for testing various materials. One of the elements required in a simulated solar environment is, of course, the sun. That's where this piece of equipment comes into play. This is a real sun simulator designed to focus a beam of light through the window on the test chamber. I'm sure I read that somewhere before. So now that I have hopefully awoken your appetite for facts rather than fantasy, you can search further and uncover more NASA sun simulators, such as the one used at this facility in this extra large test chamber. The
Saturday,
truth is,
December 9th, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 2017. Solar simulators. Here's one here at Google Patents. It goes back to 1960. The idea has been around for a long time, quite possibly even farther back than 1960. There's a diagram of a solar simulator patented back in April of 1966. I shared a two images yesterday with you guys of photos of Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota. In both photos, there was two independent photos. A hexagon appeared in the sky in the photos, and it was very obvious that it was definitely a hexagon, no doubt about it. Yes, I did make the connection with the solar simulator. I didn't say anything right off the bat because of what's going on at YouTube, but as it turned out, they ended up demonetizing my video anyway. So here it is. Yeah, I'm totally on board. It's pretty obvious. This is what we're looking at. How it ended up in the sky above Crazy Horse Monument, I have no idea. But yes, I totally agree, guys. That's exactly to a T what this thing looks like. Perfect. Photos of Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota. In both photos, there was two independent photos. A hexagon appeared in the sky in the photos, and it was very obvious that it was definitely a hexagon, no doubt about it. Yes, I did make the connection with the solar simulator. I didn't say anything right off the bat because of what's going on at YouTube, but as it turned out, they ended up demonetizing my video anyway. So here it is. Yeah, I'm totally on board. It's pretty obvious. This is what we're looking at. How it ended up in the sky above Crazy Horse Monument, I have no idea. But yes, I totally agree, guys. That's exactly to a T what this thing looks like. Perfect match. So what I've done is taken a lot of the photos that I showed you yesterday and put them up next to a what appears to be a solar simulator. And there you go. Perfect match. Looks like a honeycomb in the sky. There you have it. So yes, I'm totally on board, guys. There it is. There it is in black and white. That's negative. There's your machine. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's more than likely a solar simulator. Right there it is. There's the picture the guy took. His name's Jonathan. He didn't actually see it. He saw it in the photos after the fact. But the solar simulator theory and idea has been around probably before you and I arrived on planet Earth. There's a diagram right here of the idea. Thanks for watching, guys. And yes, I'm totally in agreement. That's what we're looking.
Wow. There we go. My bad, y'all. So I apologize, y'all. Wow. There I go. Muted, unmuted. I messed that all up. But what I'm saying is, wow, this is amazing. This is actually amazing, totally amazing. So what this guy found is a big deal, right? Because what I want you to do is take note and remember that you've got things like you've got those sun rays that we see from time to time that replicate this exact shape, right? I'm not saying that every sun ray that you see is because of this. No, I'm not saying that at all. But there are some sun rays, whether you see them in movies, not cartoons, excuse me, whether you see them in movies or in real life through your camera and stuff. But some sun rays, right? You'll see these. You'll see this. It'll replicate this exact shape. I don't know how long this thing has been around. I'm not claiming to be an expert or nothing like that. I just find it odd that people are finding this. This is starting to come to light now. Anyway, let's continue.
Looking at here. Thanks for watching, and as always, be safe out there.
Gentlemen, what I'm showing you here, and I'm going to show you later in the video, a slowed down time lapse of the spinning cube of the sun simulator. I said it before in other videos, I just want to show you in slow motion.
Maria, how you doing?
Now go into much greater detail
Awesome to see you, Maria.
of what we're looking at in the corroborating evidence. This indeed is a cube. It is the black dot that we see in our cameras.
Timothy, peace out. With how you doing, brother? Nice to see you.
This is slowed down to 1/4 speed of the actual video. I'll show you this blindingly white. I'm going to ask the YouTube subscriber to show me what kind of camera, how it was zoomed in, if any filters were used. It doesn't look like any filters were used. But she is looking right down the barrel of the sun simulator. I am on Eva Healy's YouTube channel, and she captured something that really grabbed my attention about the sun simulator. So I'm just going to get right into it, because this further backs up everything we've known so far. And this was very revealing video of the sun simulator. Let's just watch. So it looks like we have a spinning cubical mirror in the air. I'm just going to continue watching this whole thing. 1 minute, 17 seconds. A spinning mirror. I believe we also have a lens in front of it, which helps focus this energy. I believe we're looking through the lens and directly in line with this dot. The alignment that this person has is very rare to be looking right down the barrel of the sun simulator Fresnel lens, which is a spinning mirror. This coincides with everything I've videotaped so far. Pretty amazing. Let's look at the other more also collaborating evidence that goes with this. So here is some photographs I've been sitting on from a subscriber, and I'm sorry I forgot your name, but I didn't have enough collaboration to be able to use these photos. If you are watching this, please tell me, I will give you the credit. So let's just watch some of these photos that appeared from this mirror on someone's garage. You are the lucky person that this thing goes through and scans, goes across the earth. Look at this progression of photos. Look at this thing rotate. This is again black and white photos of the same mirror as it's rotating on this person's garage.
There we go. Wow.
Here are some more photos. We can see the lines on this giant, actually apparently not too big. We can see as this mirror is revolving. Look that it's basically yellow in nature. Wouldn't that be gold reflectors?
and gold reflectors. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that I'm right or this person is right, but they were talking about the James Webb Space Telescope and that honeycomb-shaped golden mirror nonsense that it's got all over, right? And that's the color. Apparently, he's claiming to see this thing that's golden color. Well, the James Webb Space Telescope has a bunch of golden mirrors, correct? I don't know what it's even there for, but this is what a lot of people are starting to claim, that this is what it's out there to simulate the sun somehow, some way. Totally fascinating. Let's continue.
Here we have another one. I'm going to quickly go through. You can see this will totally collaborate with everything we've seen so far. So I'm going to put, never mind that. These are taking from the house. This is as it first started coming through looks like a sunrise. And then here we can see the square sun. And these aren't as compelling. And then we have one last one here. Again, if you're the one that whoever done this, I forgive me for not remembering who had sent these photos, but I did save them. Thank you very much. Wow. Again, this is the same spinning Fresnel lens on an infrared telescope. This mirror would be basically cool spinning. How was it mounted there? I have probably a double axis gyroscope looking thing, which I have a picture of. And again, which I believe was probably held on by this device. We see an axis here, and this thing probably rotates. And they hit this thing with light, possibly from a group of mirrors or lasers. Again, to see the cone-shaped light, I believe we're looking at, as we're looking down the lens array. Actually, hold on a second. Let me show you the patent idea. This is, I believe, the reflecting back to the light. That's the light that's coming. Go back and look at this, but this light source is coming through here. This is the object that's spinning and bouncing this light back down to here. And this is spinning through the sill, hoping that we don't see it. It does send a narrow cone of light that we see. This is the black dot. The black dot we see.
Oh.
Like on this video. This was from the Zion Warrior. Watch him zoom in on this again. We can see the cool black dot as he zooms in on the dot.
You know, now I wonder, okay, so here we are. Now I'm starting to wonder, when you have those in power telling us, and those that are not in power, everybody tells us the same thing when it comes to the sun and these things, right? First of all, how long has this thing been around? Number one. Number two, second, they tell us that do not stare into the sun, you'll go blind. That's what they tell us every time. Do not stare at the sun, you'll go blind. Don't point your cameras or this or that. Not saying that it's not possible, but we get that a lot. We've been getting that a lot coming up. Now I'm starting to wonder, man, what the hell are they telling us this stuff for? And this is what we're seeing, right? Now, look, I have no idea what this fucking thing is. We know they have the technology, apparently, to do this stuff. I don't know what this is, but god dang. It's hard to make this stuff up.
Which we now know is a cubical mirror. At some angles, a cube would actually look hexagonal too.
Yeah.
You see, you get him to zoom in on this. We'll get right here.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So the trolls and debunkers would say that that is a camera that is causing it to overload. But that is blown out of the water with that myth, because here we see the black dot rising on a sunset, reflecting on the water. We fast forward this. Here's the black dot again, and we see it reflecting on the water below. So we know that this thing is real. It's spinning in front of the sun. And then from the Steve Olson Scott channel, this is what was captured on the same similar device on with an analog camera capturing the same thing. This, I believe, is the Fresnel lens in front of it, which scatters the light, I believe, in front of the cube.
Wow.
And then the reason why we have the fake sun, I believe this is the reflector dish that reflects the light onto the spinning cubicle device. And then we see that images over an FAA camera and around the world, this hexagonal mirror, because of the source of light is coming from the bouncing, from the spinning mirror. The cone-shaped light that we see is, I believe, coming from these cones of light. I believe this would be the black dot. It's not in alignment with it, but these would be the black dot and the cone shape. I believe it might have two sides of this spinning Fresnel lens, but we can watch this thing rotate as well in front of it. And the sun, or rotating sun flare. Yeah, okay. You need to wake up, people. This thing is real. It's really out there. Why is it out there? Well, perhaps this is why it's out there.
That's true.
This is a Fox dark sun halo. And here we can see I want you to focus your attention on a few things in this picture. I want you to notice the outer diameter of these halos never changes, but the diameter of the inner fake sun does. And we could see when high altitude clouds or make it look smaller and low altitudes make it look bigger. Notice the changing diameter. If that would have been the true sun, it would have never changed in size because of the angle of light that approaches the Earth. I also want you to notice to see how whatever object is now eclipsing the light is no longer, it's not even a balanced halo. Look, we got more light on this side and less light down here. This is over Fox News. Yeah, you're looking at a eclipse. And now, just like in my demonstration, we have a real sun and a fake sun like the flashlight, and then we get chemtrails in front of it like this paper, high altitude, demonstrating that light is changing the diameter of the sun according to the altitude of the clouds. That again would be impossible unless it was a smaller, much closer source of light. And for those of you who still might be new to this, no, the sun simulator does not create heat. It's smaller. The real heat of the sun can pass through the sun simulator. We still feel it. Doesn't block the heat. But we feel a heat loss when it gets eclipsed by another celestial body. So one more thing about the lens array, but we also have evidence of the lens array and the sun simulator with the rotating cubicle mirror. Now we've discovered, watch the reflection of this thing bounce from this oscillating light as the sun simulator passes from behind the lens array.
Maria, no, I haven't, but if you'd like to hop on and tell us about it, here in a little bit, I'll pause for a little bit, but I haven't seen that live stream with his son. No, I haven't. But this is crazy, and it gets crazier, it seems.
Focus here and here. I believe this, again, is because of the spinning cubicle mirror in a very timely, rotating manner in a time-lapse video over Australia. And the lens pedal effect.
This is Flatworks, Maria. What?
From the sun simulator. Anyways, please copy, like, and share this video. Have a blessed day. This was a pretty famous, they got the cell phones looking at this thing, okay? So obviously they know, look at this guy with this camera, he's checking it out, okay? This is happening. Let's watch it some more.
My man got a whole dashiki outfit out this motherfucker over in Africa. Man, my man getting down, man. But this is crazy. Look at that.
I mean, it's epic.
Yeah, okay. Now that I have a better understanding of this thing's how it functions, it makes sense. All right. So hear me out. when I said the stroboscopic effect, when you get a video camera, and let me jump on this stupid thing. Y'all gotta at least see my face, right? When you get a video camera, and then you have your video camera trained up to the TV screen, while the TV screen's running, you're watching a TV show like freaking, damn Remington Steele, The Love Boat, or, MASH or something like that, bringing you some of the best from the 80s right there, right? But if you're using your video camera trained on the TV, you may not see it with the naked eye, right? But your video camera is matching the hertz rate of the TV to some degree, and then you're seeing it like you're seeing lines on top of lines, right? So it's like it's strobing. It's strobing. I think with the cell phones, you're getting much of the same effect. You know what I'm saying? The cell phone cameras, hell, if you took a video camera like it was like, another 48 hours with, the handheld video camera, you could probably get the same thing looking at this sun. I don't know if they were out there seeing that thing flicker that way at that speed, like it's a bad stoplight or something. You know what I'm saying? At that speed and that intensity. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I'm thinking it would be easier to detect with a video camera. You know what I'm saying? Or your cell phone camera. It would be easier to detect. And if that thing is spinning, maybe it's giving off that strobing effect. If that mirrored box or whatever the hell it is, that thing, if it's spinning, maybe those reflections are giving that pulsating effect. It's crazy, this technology that we got, man. How the hell does it even stay up there? That's my question. What is it using to stay up there? How does it just stay up there to do that?
Failing. That's the fake sun failing because it's being eclipsed. Absolutely crazy. It's almost like, is that a Morse code or is this for real, right?
Good afternoon again. It's January 8th, 2018, 12:42 p.m. Sun simulator breaking down big time. Sorry about the last video. I don't know why it just suddenly cut off. Look at that. Definitely something happening. And look at that weirdness of below the sun now. Blue beam going through, flashing. Looks like, see how the beam is not totally straight? Oh, we got 4 beams. Flashing very strangely. It's getting... Definitely look at the sun simulator now. Definitely misshaped, shrinking, and flashing. Maybe something below. Maybe just a cloud. Look at the weirdness.
So, from the United Kingdom, behold the sun simulator. Notice where the sun is reflecting on the windshields and the car and bouncing back the light on this fence. That's why we get the same exact images, because these are coming from cars and the building behind it. Just keep watching.
Maria Walker, if you do have this, send it to me. I would love to see that. All right. Send that to me. I would love to see that, and then I'd love to do something on it, do a show on it or something. Send me these pictures that you have. I would love to see that, and I'll talk about it. Fuck it, I'll talk about it, and we'll get some light on it. Pun intended. Get it, y'all? Anyway, let's continue.
Watching. That cube is the spinning cube I've been talking about. Coming off the windows. Thank you so much. Look at that. Do you see how the light's coming from the windows and the buildings? Look at from every car. It's perfect angle. Wow. You need,
guys, as you come in, don't forget to like, don't forget to sub, share this, and like, sub, share. Appreciate y'all.
need to take this from Mike Around the News. You got them. I told you there's a lens in front of the sun simulator at 256 miles in the air. This is epic, epic evidence. Look at where it's even swirling in front of his lens. All those squares are slowly rotating. If you see this again, not only catches, this is awesome. Every single window is bouncing at perfect height on the air. The angle's perfect where it's coming at the sun here.
Wow.
Wow. You see how that works? I don't even know who this YouTuber is, but I'm going to say thank you. Thank you.
So then my question is this. I'm sure everybody has seen a sun filter on a telescope, right? And then what do we see on the sun? We see the same things over and over again. We see those same sunspots, same places, and then they'll be in different places if we're catching the sun from a different perspective, right? So then my thing is this: what does this thing look like underneath a solar filter in a telescope? One guy that uses his solar filter often, and he makes flat Earth videos, is Effed Up World. Everybody knows Effed Up World from Minnesota, or I think he's from Minnesota. He makes a lot of those videos where he's filming the sun live and he's casting. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, everybody get familiar with using a telescope. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but if you have one and you have a sun filter, go ahead, point that joker up to the sun and see if we can catch this motherfucker real time. I'd say that's probably one of the easier things we could get done, right? That'll be just another feather in the hat, checking a box for the flat Earth community.
It's more than just one garage. The entire fence bouncing off all the cars.
Yeah.
Wow. Come on, man.
Now that we know that these solar simulators objectively exist through photos, black and white negatives, videos, cameras all around the world, especially in Antarctica. This one is actually from Casey Station. We can see the same solar simulator here. So we objectively know that there's a minimum of one in Antarctica. And then here's another one from Neumayer Station. You can see the same solar simulator with the spinning Fresnel lens that's on the double gyroscope, the cube mirror that's on the webcam. You can also see here, we know that it's not a artifact from the camera or an overload from the sun's UV rays, because this actually spins. And also the reflection of the dot actually shows up on the water when it goes across water. So if it's reflecting on water, it means it has to be an actual physical real object and not a camera artifact. And obviously you can see from infrared cameras, you can pick up that spinning Fresnel lens, that cube mirror that's on the double gyroscope of the solar simulator. You can pick that up on the infrared camera. So you can see all these different artifacts. But I noticed that after looking at all these artifacts, these visual characteristics from these solar simulators, I noticed that I'd seen these somewhere else before. And then I remember seeing a lot of these characteristics and visual artifacts in the 24-hour sun fake videos. Like literally all these artifacts are in these fake 24-hour sun videos.
So my question is, where are these things normally prevalent at, right? They're showing these false suns, these fake artificial suns. Where do we normally, I don't even know if where I live, right, if that's showing a fake sun all the time or some of the time. And why and when would they do this? You know, obviously there's something up there. That's obvious. How is it up there? And like, okay, so how is it staying up there? How is it remaining afloat, right? How is it remaining stationary in one place to be making the maneuvers that it's making? Is it a drone? Is it a series of drones? Is it a balloon that maybe it uses that balloon to hover in one place? Like, how do they do that? And who else is seeing that kind of sun? So if they're seeing that sun and that kind of sun, that means this thing is, how is it even rotating? Like, my mind is blown. See, I'm thinking about this too linearly, maybe, and maybe you guys could help me out. Maybe you guys could offer me some perspective. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right direction when it comes to this sun, right? Trying to figure this thing out. Like I'm puzzled by it. Like, why would they do that? You figure one sun is enough. Why two suns? Like, we're not even getting heat from it. And a double gyroscope, so it spins around. Okay, all right, but this is weird. It's weird how they can do this. It's weird. But why would they do it? Like I don't know. I don't know why they would do this. It's not like we don't get enough sun. Surplus there in their fake world. Okay. How is this thing up there? There's several methods. You already covered a few. Right. I got you. Drones and stuff. But I'm wondering, like, I don't know. I'm used to seeing a particular type of drone. I'm used to seeing a particular type of UAV. And oh, you know what? They can also implement what they have with the TR-3B, right? Okay, that makes sense. Why would they not use that kind of technology? The TR-3B, if you guys don't know, is the triangle-shaped UFO. You know what I'm saying? That rhymes, by the way. But the TR-3B is the the triangle-shaped UFO with the big giant light in the middle of it. And apparently it's got spinning mercury to keep it making those wild maneuvers. And it runs off of the voltage in the atmosphere to do what it does. Maybe trying to keep the summer gate from thawing. But I thought the summer gate was already thawed. I don't know. This is just strange. This stuff just. This is why the truth is awesome, because you can't write this in a book. I mean, we could try. I'm sure we've made attempts, but the truth is just crazier than fiction.
So if we know that there's objectively solar simulators in Antarctica that are caught on webcam, and they have the same artifacts as these 24-hour sun videos, then that would suggest that there is objective, conclusive evidence that all of these 24-hour sun videos, they're actually, in fact, filming solar simulators. Wow. So let's go ahead and get into more details on these artifacts from the 5-day time-lapse 24-hour sun video and the 3D VR 24-hour sun video. Wow. One of the other things that I noticed with the 3D VR 24-hour sun video is you'll notice the image of the sun when it's passing through high altitude and low altitude clouds. The high altitude clouds make it appear smaller, and then the low altitude clouds will distort it and make it look larger. Now, this in reality would never actually occur with a real physical sun. This could only occur with a localized artificial light source. Now you can see here, this is the natural physical sun. The clouds don't distort it. They don't make it smaller or bigger at all. Whereas over here, this is the artificial solar simulator. You can see how much this clouds, the high altitude and lower altitude clouds.
Maria Walker, you're gonna have to show me that. You're gonna have to send this link. Drop the link in the comment section, if you would, please. I'd like to see this video that you're talking about. I would really like to see that video. Please get that link. Please get that link in this so we can all watch it, not just me.
Drastically affect its angular size and its how it looks. So it's nearly doubling its size, tripling its size, and then shrinking down to a small size. Whereas you can see that in reality doesn't affect a real physical sun. So that's a huge red flag right there that tells you it's an artificial light source. Another thing you notice is the blinking that flashes and blinks 4 or 5 times throughout the video. A normal sun is not going to flash and blink like that throughout, when you observe it. You can see here, this one is one that was malfunctioning, as a sun simulator that was malfunctioning, and it's flashing like a flashlight in the sky, like the on and off button on a flashlight. Well, that's exactly what this here does multiple times throughout the video. and that's obviously not natural. That's it's a technical issue with a artificial light source that's very close and very local. A regular, real physical sun is not going to flash and blink while you're observing it. Another thing too I noticed is when it goes across light poles and fixtures, you'll notice that it flashes out and it glitches out.
You guys take heed. Take a look at what Maria just wrote in there. It's on Sovereign Soul Unchained. And like I said, y'all, anytime I bring these channels up, when you guys get the opportunity, write them down. Make sure you sub to these guys and show them love. I want to get these guys as much exposure as possible, right? It's not just about me. It's about the entire community getting the word out so we can hear these perspectives, the good ones, the bad ones, the different ones. It's important that we get these messages and we get the truth out. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Sob Souls Unchained Mind has some very, very good content. Apparently, this is another one. So Satanic Experiment, right? Check that out. I'm going to check that out myself, but let's continue. Matter of fact, let's continue a little bit more with this, and then we're going to wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up. And you can say, well, that's because the angular size, the lens flare cause that. Well, that's not the case, because with a real sun, these poles don't affect it and they don't make it glitch out and disappear. It just keeps going along its path without disappearing, actual real sun. So that's another artifact that just shows you that the sun is a artificial localized light source. Now this is the 5-day time lapse. You'll notice that you have the same issues with the sun's size changing between altitude, the high altitude and low altitude clouds. It drastically changes in size. And obviously you can see if you use the sheet of paper with a local artificial light source, that paper is like clouds or like chemtrail cloud cover, which these are all not even real clouds. You can tell they're not the same shape, they're artificial clouds, but I'll get into that later. But you can see it does the same effect with the high altitude and low altitude cloud covering. And then another thing you'll notice is with these sun arches, these sun arcs and these sun dogs, is the sun should never change angular size within a sun arc. And you'll see here, this actually, it not only changes size, it changes shape. It'll go from small to big and then small again. It'll actually change into like a diamond shape. You see the sun arc here, it'll be small, and it'll get big, and then it'll change into a diamond. And so, and obviously in a real physical sun is not going to change its size within a sun arc, even with clouds going over it. So it's always going to stay that same size. So it just goes to show you it's another artificial light source. Another thing you'll see here is the what's called the lens array, which is a lens petal effect. This was taken in a time lapse in Australia, another sun simulator, but the spinning cubical mirror that's inside the sun simulator on the double gyroscope, the Fresnel lens, when it spins at the right angle, it'll create that lens petal effect, which you can see here when you slow it down. Here's the same lens petal effect that you see here. That's a cubical mirror that's spinning on a double gyroscope on a Fresnel lens that causes that redness, that lens petal lens array. Again, you'll never notice that with a real physical sun. So it's another visual artifact from a solar simulator. Now, if that was enough objective evidence before, I'm going to show you something that 100% objectively proves that this 5-day time lapse was, they were filming a solar simulator. I give you the video before that showed the reflections from off the windows of the solar simulator of all these squares and diamonds and crosses, all these shapes. If you actually went through this video, and you can I time-stamped it, and you can actually see all 4 of these shapes reflected in the sun throughout this 5-day time-lapse video, which just objectively proves that it's a localized artificial light source. It's a solar simulator. So you can see here at 34 seconds, you can see it's literally a cross. Okay, it's a cross shape, and then here you can see it's a square. All 4 sides are squared off, and then you can see it's a diamond. at 22 seconds, and then you can see the asterisk X here. So you can see all four of these shapes. How is the sun, a real sun, going to turn into a cross? You have to, question, how is that even physically possible? It's not possible because it's a solar simulator, which creates all of these, when reflected at just the right timing and the right angle, the cubical mirror lens that's spinning will create these reflections. And all four of these reflections were actually caught in that 5-day time-lapse video that are shown here on this video here, where they're catching the same exact reflections. So if you weren't sure before, with all the other, mountains of evidence that it's a solar simulator, this here proves without a shadow of doubt that it's a artificial light source that they're filming. Now, they may or may not even be aware that it's an artificial light source. They may just have filmed it and they weren't really aware that it was a solar simulator. Obviously, they've probably been using these for years in Antarctica, as we can see on webcam footage from back in 2011 and 2012, before flat Earth was even a thing. So they've been obviously using these for a while. Another big thing you'll notice is at the beginning of the video, it's like daylight, and then the end of the video, you can see it's civil twilight here. And obviously that's showing that the sun is setting, and look how much darker it is at the end of the day to the beginning of the day. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what civil twilight actually looks like, and let's compare that to what this 5-day time-lapse video looks like. Now that we can see the difference between nautical and civil twilight and astronomical twilight from these charts, obviously their civil twilight is 0 to 6 degrees below the horizon, and then you get to nautical twilight where the sun is 0 or 6 to 12 degrees below the horizon. And obviously you get an astronomical twilight at nighttime. Now, with that being said, the sun would have to physically be below the horizon for nautical and civil twilight to occur. Now, again, with this 5-day time lapse, like first couple days of the video, it's closer to daytime civil twilight out, and then the end of the video, it's closer to nautical twilight. I don't know if I'd say this is that.
Mr. Jones, that's a very good observation on you. You never see people in these videos, and that's a tell. Good point. Good point.
Astronomical twilight, but it's pretty dark out. And we can even kind of compare some video or pictures of like what nautical twilight looks like. You kind of get this blue hue. The blue hours usually between civil twilight and nautical twilight, so it's usually like between 4 and 8 degrees. And you get that kind of blue hue and a little bit of yellows. That's because the sun is below the horizon, but you're still getting that residual daylight. Now you can see here, this looks almost identical to that. Looks like, nautical twilight or the blue hour. Now, again, the only way that can happen is that the sun itself is actually below the horizon. And you can see this kind of this light here. That's the physical sun is below the horizon. It's set already. And obviously they got this artificial light source propped up. They're using this solar simulator that, we've pretty much, provided mountains of conclusive evidence that there's, if not multiple solar simulators in Antarctica that have been filmed there. But we've documented that it exists there. It's been filmed there. So this is showing you that the sun is setting, and you can see that let's see, we're getting the residual nautical twilight here. And again, that can only happen if the physical sun is below the horizon. And the evidence I'm going to show you later with the person that was at 78 degrees south latitude in 2017 in January 21st, at 78 degrees, he's basically observing the sky after the sun is set, and he's stating that the sun is missing from the sky and the sun is gone and it's dark out. Well, this is one of the peak months of when you'd have to see a 24-hour sun, and he's saying the sun is gone and it's missing. So it kind of corroborates what you're seeing here. This is actually, even after, this is March in 2017, it's like a couple months after he observed that. So What he was observing is he's observing the sky after the sun had set. He's observing, nautical twilight. So it's just another thing to show that that they're lying about, that they're covering up the sun setting. And even if we look at the sun and time and date, sunrise and sunset on that date, it's saying that the whole month of March up to the 22nd, the sun is up all day. Well, I mean, even looking at this, it doesn't look like the sun's up all day. This looks like nautical, astronomical twilight, like the sun has set. So, what that is it's just it's the sun, its altitude and its velocity is changing. It's getting farther out from the Tropic of Capricorn, and that reflection from the reflective surface above, you're getting more and more prolonged nautical twilight and civil twilight and less full daylight as those months progress throughout the end of the summer solstice. That you can kind of see on those demonstrations we showed earlier. That's what you're actually observing here. Is the sun's already set, and you're going to get more days with progressively more nautical twilight and civil twilight as that sun's altitude changes on the Tropic of Capricorn with the reflective surface above. So that being said, I want to get into another 24-hour sun video and just show you some more evidence that I kind of came across.
Well,
and you want to know something, Timothy P. Southwick, you're right on the money with that, man. Like you have entities like DARPA and everything, and like I'm sure there are many more, especially these contract companies. Like the technology that we have, it's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing, and it just I don't even know where to go with it anymore, because like things that we're getting now, like touch screen, all that's late. Like we always get the table scraps, and even the table scraps are something to marvel at. You know what I'm saying? But the technology, where it truly is, the stuff that we don't know, is just puzzling to me.
One here, I think, just looks fake to me. I mean, first of all, that you don't have any rays changing here, but watch this. This is what I'm talking about. Where let's imagine that the sun is about to set here, and it's crazy because here comes the clouds. Now watch the sun, and just kind of follow my mouse as the clouds go here. So now the clouds are blocking. Now imagine that the sun is going off in this direction. Oops, right up over here, where it's going off and setting. Like it is possible that it does that it sets here. Now watch it get blocked. Okay, now it's blocked. Now imagine that it keeps going and sets. It's going, it's setting over there. It's setting, there it's gone. The sun set. And then
Okay, so my question is this. How are they doing that? And now are they involving, is it a mixture of, a sleight of hand with this fake sun and possible chemtrails? Are they dropping extra chemtrails at a certain point, right, throughout the day or throughout some of the day in order to get that all up in the sky so it blocks everybody's vision? I mean, yeah, you do have hours and stuff that you have to be in your tent or you have to be indoors. But then there are those that may be outside, if there is anybody outside in some of these places, that they don't want them seeing it. So then it brings into question, do they even start chemtrailing that part of the sky? Who knows? Who knows?
They just have this little bright spot here, and then it comes back up and then pops out of the clouds. And people call this proof. Like the sun, we just saw the sunset, in my opinion. The sunset.
Oh yeah, okay. This is okay. This one's stupid. The other one's the one they sent everywhere though.
The loop one.
Yeah.
Flat earthers proving that one was fake. And then this one,
it looks like the sun set. It looked like the sun went away and it was just daylight.
It does, and now it's just back up there in the exact same rays. But what we had a problem with is how are the locations behind mountains? Like I'm a video editor. I don't know how to do that unless I use layers. So the video has been layered because how else would you go again here? When it's got when it says west behind the mountain like that, how do you do that? You know how to make it videos, Austin. How would you put the word west behind this mountain?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you'd have to use a layer. You'd put the word west down and then you would put the layer of the mountains over it.
Without layers, I don't know how.
Yeah. So again, and then just other ones I've seen, you don't see these rays stay so consistent like that. I mean, again, I'm not able to say whether or not it's fake, but to me, it certainly doesn't.
Can you go theater mode?
This one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But again, watch the sun and imagine that. Imagine that it's going to go off and set, which is what we'd expect. And it goes this way, and then you just, and again, just some words on the screen that are behind mountains. But here, watch the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. There goes the light. You can see it over there, and it's going to go set. So to me, it's like, that's funny that this video is the one that they end up using for proof. I'm like, what? Why don't we have a video where there's no clouds? And then I looked up Union Glacier, and then you pop out, and it's like the sun's way up here again with the same rays coming out.
Yeah.
So if you
Call
go
that a
to
wash. I'm sorry. I would have been like, oh, better do it again another time when, you know, it wasn't 8 hours of.
Okay, I get that answers that question. Instead of chemtrails, perhaps they have a fake cloud machine, right? And they're making all those clouds, all that stuff. Okay, all right.
Cloud cover going by there.
Which is why I don't want to do a crowdfund to go to Antarctica, because I was like, no, I don't want to have my entire audience pitch in for a $45,000 trip, which is way too fucking expensive anyway. And I don't want to do that. And then we go down there and see clouds for 3 days. Like, that's terrible. But I'm not the one who came up with the experiment. Duffy is. So I wanted Duffy to spend it. And then if it's 3 cloud days, oh, well, then he lost.
Yeah, but we already know what the Globe folks are going to do, right? They're going to straw man the hell out of you, say, oh, well, you said that this and that, and we brought you out there, so see, you know, and then they're just going to take it, they're going to run with it, and every Glober is going to, instead of investigate, they're going to be satisfied, resting on their laurels. They're going to believe that this realm it's a ball still. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that you have these people that will go that far to lie. And what sucks is that they're being lied to, too. I think at the end of the day, they don't care if they're being lied to. They just don't want to let go of their fault. They don't. Because if you told me that there's an entity out there messing with me, my family, how we live and how we dictate our future, or what we think are the only possibilities we have, I'd be mad as fuck. And I'd like to know the truth. And I'd like to know a way out. I would. At least the way out is up here first. And y'all can't see me, but the way out, it's up here first. It has to start up here. Like, it doesn't matter how many guns you got. It doesn't matter how much food you got, water, all that. If you can't see it up here, if you can't see it, if you can't make it possible in the spirit, man, everything else will fall short. Like, you can't do anything else. If you're planning on going to 7-Eleven, you have to have that plan first. Right before, and it doesn't matter how close or how far 7-Eleven is. Obviously, the closer, the easier, right? If you want to stir some Kool-Aid, if you want to make Kool-Aid, it all starts with the plan. It needs to be formed in the mind first. You need to crystallize it in your mind first. You need to see it in your mind first. These beliefs and stuff that the Globe people have, they have it because they're not looking for truth. They're not looking for truth. Despite what they say, they are not looking for truth. Because if they want the truth, I promise you, God gives you more than what you ask for. You get a lot more than what you ask for. Knowledge is only on a flat earth, no ledge on a ball. Yeah, look. The wheel in the sky keeps on turning. Firmament has stars fixed in. I think the dome rotates, and that's how we get star trails. I don't know what's spinning, but something is spinning. Something is spinning to where the water is doing what it does. I think it's Galahad brought up Virgomere, right? I'm going to look into Virgomere. Virgomere, the gigantic whirlpool in the middle of in the middle of those 4 continents to get our tides and everything else. Virgomere, I'm going to look at that. But we have all these crazy possibilities as to why the world does what it does. The sun and the moon does what it does, to where now NASA and the rest of their yokels, they feel it's necessary to go ahead and put a fake sun up in the sky. It's gotten that damn deep. And I mean, when they're out there putting news out there like, oh, we're going to do an experiment with this and that. No, they've been doing that for a long time. Now it's probably gotten to the point to where they're like, maybe we should let the public know because people are starting to wonder what ABC is. You know, it's huge potentially. I haven't had double sleeping since I saw it. Maria Walker, I'm not getting any video. I'm not like, I don't know if you're dropping it in there. But send me this video that you speak of. I would like to see it. And then yes, I'll definitely play it for the team. I'll definitely play it for the rest of the guys. What about everything being sold mega stores online? I don't understand. This out is just the Clovers acknowledging their lack of vocabulary and understanding. Yeah. It's food, but eventually people can only order goods online. That's right. That's right. The earth gives you the gift that keeps on giving. We just have to know how to do it. And this is something that we grew up with. All of us grew up learning how to plant veggies and get the veggies from the garden, get fruit, plant veggies, right? If you had grapes, you learn how to harvest your grapes and everything else. Now it's not even an art form. It was just a way of life. Now it's considered like a hobby or an art form for some people. A lot of people don't know how to plant shit, don't know how to do anything. And it's unfortunate because now this is the corner that the globe and the liars, this is the one that they want society in, to be dependent on the government for everything. To where now you don't even know, harvesting rainwater, using rainwater. They're gonna make it illegal, and it's crazy, it's unreal. On the documents that fake sun sim, I bet it assumes a flat, non-rotating Earth. Yeah, Mr. Jones, that's what's crazy. Because if that thing is just hovering there and then moving from time to time, we have to rely on the Earth spinning based on where it is above the Earth. The Earth's still spinning at like 1,100 miles an hour. And Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Oh yeah, that's right. I'll see it. I'll check on it. Yes, that's right. And it's the Satan episode. Got you. I'm gonna look at that. Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. I am going to look at that. Happened to 3D printers. I don't know what happened to 3D printers, Guy in the Spice. I have a 3D printer. I have a 3D printer. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that a technology that we've lost. This is interesting. But reads out lies. Yeah, that's right. Let's get back to the video. As a matter of fact, let's give this video the rest. But if you guys haven't subbed to Flatworks, this guy obviously brings the heat, boy. He brings the heat. I love his stuff. So shout out to the final experiment on Flatworks' channel. That was awesome. We're gonna stop that right quick, and we're gonna roll into what I have been just pouring my mind out on, right? And I've been looking so hard at this thing, and I want you guys to take a look at it with me because it's just so awesome. That is, you guessed it, boys and girls, Urbano Monte's finest map of the world, 1587. There it is, folks. There it is. So I was going around. I don't know if you guys have ever watched My Little Pony, but I have. And I looked at a few new things that came to my attention. Of course, I was looking at the features that are familiar with me, right? And familiar features that are unfamiliar with me. So obviously the ones that I'm familiar with, it's this right here. So we're looking at Italy right there, Sicily right here, Sardinia right there. I used to live here actually, and right above it is Corsica, right? Nothing too crazy around here. You got your sea monsters. Look at stuff that's familiar, the Straits of Gibraltar, right? But what I don't see here And we see a lot of lakes that don't appear to be there anymore, right? And why is that important? Because we have the Tropic of Cancer up here, cutting right through it. And this is one of the more hotter regions in the world. The hotter regions in the world. You got this dragon thing, this dragon-looking bird thing. You've got the Niger River here. You've got the Niger River here, but you've got a bunch of lakes in what is some of the driest lands in the world. Mauritania, Mali, Morocco, Mauritania. Any more M's, man, this thing is going to turn into a map full of candies, i.e. Eminem. Get it? Anyway, there's a joke somewhere in there, but I digress. So this is old Africa, according to Urbano Monte. This is old Africa because we don't see these lakes no more, especially in this Sahara-like region. Or Sahara-like, it is the Sahara, period. Negri, right? Or black. Black people, I guess, come from here, right? We all know that. Big giant goat, some weird animal. And then, if you guys know what's supposed to be here, we have the Atlas Mountains, right? Where King Atlas used to live. These are the Atlas Mountains. And how do we know? Monte Atlante. Monte Atlante. Monte Atlante. So they already knew that part of the world, that part of Africa, to be called the Atlas Mountains. Atlas Mountains, one of the things that it's known for is to be near Mauritania. But not near Mauritania, but excuse me, north of Mauritania, but also north of the Eye of the Sahara, which I don't see here, or the Ricard structure. That's what I don't see here. I don't see a Ricard structure here. Is it underwater? Is it underwater? One of these things, right? It's one of the greatest features in the world, the Ricard structure. But maybe if you guys could point it out, because he identifies perfectly a lot of these other features in Africa. But I don't see a Ricard structure here. Gagdem Desert. Yeah, I don't see a Ricard structure. Meli Gago. Anyway, let's continue. You got a giant snake. You've got what appears to be a leopard over here. And more stuff. And then we've got the equator. And this is stuff that's familiar. And this region right here, or all of this right here, which is, I guess you could say now considered, let's rotate. Much of it is considered the Middle East. It wasn't the Middle East, right? All of this. This was considered Northeast Africa, right? All of this was considered Northeast Africa right there. It wasn't the Middle East. Now that we've got the division over here, the whatchamacallit, that empties out into the Med, from the Red Sea into the Med, now we have the Suez Canal separating Africa from the rest of this right here, right? And because of that, now they can call it what they want to call it, and call it the Middle East, which basically has disassociated this piece of land from Africa. So this is stuff that's familiar and stuff that's unfamiliar. Well, not unfamiliar yet, but let me show you what I came across the other day. Okay, we have, I think we saw this already. We saw the big dogs and the big cats, or what looks like a big dog. Big dogs or horses and stuff pulling wagons. More of that, we've got demons, or what look like winged devil people, devilish looking people. It's some strange stuff here. We've got this animal girl guy thing. It's got some nipples on it. I'm not going to say the rest of what I'm thinking, but we can see it. It's pretty obvious, you know what I'm saying? Like it's got nipples in there. Okay, anyway. But we have up here something I didn't notice, I just recognized the other day. what does this look like, guys? If you said a unicorn, you're right. How do I know? Well, let's rotate. Alicorn. Alicorno. Alicorno. So alicorns are typically like a Pegasus. You know what I'm saying? It's a winged horse. I don't know if it's a winged horse with a spike on top of its head too, but alicorns are typically just winged horses. You know what I'm saying? Winged horses, as far as I know, and no spike on top of its head. So alicorn or a unicorn in that part of the world. Let's go back to it. Let's see. And what part of the world is that? Right next to India, China, Ania, China, Russia, and all that. Russia, more Russia, alicorn. So this is the Bering Strait, and this is what it used to be called, Stretto di Aniano. Stretto di Aniano. So Ania, I believe that's what it used to be called. It used to be called Ania. And around there should be, well, no, it's China right here. And right here is Shanghai and everything else. It looks like this would be where Shanghai is. This looks like a really familiar feature right there. Right here would be Taiwan, right? That right there, the Taiwan Strait. No, then okay, then if that's Taiwan, then in and around there would be Shanghai. Excuse me. Apologize. Yeah. In and around there would be Shanghai. And this looks like right here would be the Kamchatka Peninsula, right? The Kamchatka Peninsula. You'd have Petropavlovsk on the outside, one of the greater Russian ports, and everything else on the outside of but it's not drawn like the Kamchatka Peninsula normally would be drawn. It isn't, but that's okay. This map is pretty damn well detailed. And I mean, you never know. Water could have changed a lot of this, a lot of how this looks now. It could have been different back then, right? Based on water levels. And we see that in a lot of these regions in Africa. Where is it at? Right here. A lot of these regions in Africa, a lot of this water don't exist no more in this part of Africa. Right? We're looking at Africa somewhat upside down. But a lot of these water pockets, we don't see them on the maps anymore. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one to discuss, I'd say. Right? That right there is pretty tough because I've never been there personally to discuss that. But based off of what we see on the newer maps, right, and the interactive maps, these do not exist at all. They don't exist no more. At one time, and seeing how big Africa is, I bet those damn lakes were huge. But going back to what I was talking about, yeah, the alicorn. The alicorn, that's a pretty damn big deal. That's a pretty damn big deal. So a lot of times, actually, these guys wouldn't just put some stuff that don't exist, right? They wouldn't just put some stuff in there just to put some stuff in there. They run the risk of getting harmed by whoever the leadership is. If they fuck around, then they find out. So look at that. And there goes right here. Look, you see how there's this circle right here in the mountain? This is Magpolis. It looks like something it looks like something and I can't read the rest, but it looks like an M something 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 something. I cannot read the rest, but Pole di Mag something at 74 parallel, 74th parallel possible, right here, right north, right here, 74. And then, of course, we know what we have in here. Rupus Negrus right in the middle. Rupus Negra right in the middle, right here. right there in the middle. And then these continents in the middle of the world divided and drawn out the same way Mercator has them drawn out, right? And what he doesn't have, though, even though he has this mountain, he doesn't have Rupus Negra in the middle. And that's weird because Mercator, Gerardus Mercator, had his, I think he made his map of the northern regions at and around the same time as well. I think, and Gerardus Mercator lived to be around 82 or 84 years old, something like that. He died in like the 1890s, I believe. So this came out like 5 years earlier, 5 years prior to him passing. Nova Bimala, Nova something. Okay. New something. Don't know. I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me see. No, that's not. I was going to say that's Greenland, but I'm wrong. That's not Greenland. Greenland is like around right here or something. But this stuff is interesting. It just fascinates me, the new stuff that I come across. And here's one of the whirlpools. So I think it was what's his name? 007. He's new to the channel. Welcome again. He was coming up with some really good points. Where in the middle of the map we have Virgomere, and I'm going to look that up. Virgomere, Galahad 007. I apologize, Galahad 007. So we had Virgomere, right? That was the whirlpool, the world's largest whirlpool in the middle of the world, right here. That does its thing where it sucks in and then it blows out, and it potentially causes tides around the world. And then it leaves us with things like this. We have whirlpools all over the world, right, that are detailed in these maps. And so apparently these must be a thing. If they're going to be part of the map, they must be consistent to some degree, right? Look at that. It's just crazy. Now, another thing that puzzles me with these maps is these blank spots. You find them all around the map, right? You got them right here. I'm sure we could kind of, maybe we can puzzle it, piece it together, but you got a blank spot there, right? North of Africa, right outside of, Spain, northern Spain, and everything else like that. Right there, you've got them west of Africa, right here in the Atlantic. You got them all around. You got them right here to the west of South America, right there. Look at that. But look at this right here. I think this is telling because it's next to the prime meridian. It's next to the prime meridian. This one is telling. This is telling because of its proximity to the prime meridian, I think. That alone requires some kind of investigation, right? Let's rotate this bitch. And so, where would London be in proximity to all that? London would be around here. Here's Ireland in the UK. London would be around here, right? Norwegia, Norway, Norway, right? Norway, right here. It was that whirlwind, that whirlpool, excuse me. London would be there, and then if we follow it down, and Greenwich, England, we follow this joker down. I think this would be in and around, but yeah, so right here, actually, I think it would be more like right here. More like right there would be where whatchamacallit would be. It goes right through, if I'm not mistaken, it goes right through Nigeria, I think. One of those countries here. It goes through Nigeria. the prime meridian. Yeah, anyway, so this thing is blank. And like I said, you've got them, you've got 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. Okay. So they're all right. So you have 3 of them. And they're all between the Tropic of Capricorn and the equator. All of them are. All of these blank things are at the same place. And it looks like as if it looks like they could have been erased. They very well could have been. I don't know. All right, maybe I'm just taking a guess. I'm probably taking a guess. Let me shut up on that. All right. I'm not saying they were erased. I'm not saying they were erased. That's not what I'm saying. Could they have been erased? Could there have been something in here already? And could they have been erased? Or is this map incomplete? Is this map incomplete? Now, there are a couple of reasons that I'm saying that could this map have been incomplete? Or am I losing it to some degree? You know, am I losing it to some degree? Huh. I'm looking at these blank spots, and like I said, the reason I'm saying that is because I'm looking at these blank spots. I don't see nothing, or has it been covered up, and then they give us the map after editing the hell out of it? You know what I'm saying? We got a sea turtle, which is kind of normal, but it looks like a cross between a bird, sea turtle, I don't even know what, a damn sloth, something else. This dude, God bless Urbano Monte for giving us this map, but damn, you could have at least gotten a Japanese dude and make some manga out of this mug. Make it look a little bit better, but whatever, man. Hey, you do what you do with what you got. Now, yeah, like I said, the reason I'm saying all that, because it looks as if the map was, they removed some things from the map. They removed some stuff from the map. Like I'm seeing some of these rivers and how they either they change or they just get cut off. And so I'm wondering, was there something there in its place? Maybe I'm looking a little bit too hard at this map. Maybe I'm just looking a little too hard at this map. But pretty much every time I need to take a break from everything that we're looking at, I come straight to this map and I look at it. And I just, I go from place to place. I kind of bounce around a little bit on the map. And I'm looking to see, what is it that I'm looking at? What is it that I think that I'm looking at? What am I looking at? Right? We're getting one thing. I think a lot of times we take these maps for granted, right? So now it's like I need to take time, look at this map, and start asking myself, what am I looking at? Take a look at everything and look twice. Because what the hell am I looking at? I see all these creatures I ain't never seen in my life. Freaking, this thing that just looks strange as hell. This thing that looks strange as hell too. We got the ice ocean. And like I said, I'm going to break this stuff down, and I'm in the process of doing that, y'all. Don't think I forgot. I did. You've got credits going out to these guys. I think the only injustice is when we get things like these scrolls and like a list of the characters, the effective characters for this map being produced. That's an assumption, by the way. I do not know what this scroll is saying. My assumption is that maybe it's credits given to those that help make this map. So I have no idea what this map is saying. I don't. I see what appears to be names on the left side, and their titles on the right, but I could be wrong. Okay, I'm speculating right now. I'm just totally speculating. I don't know if this is his family seal. This looks like an angel. I don't know if he's saying that they descend from angels or what. Duantius Custos Urbano Monte. Right? Maybe this is his family crest. The Montes. And that's not supposed to be Urbano Monte because this is Urbano Monte. My man got the Phil Collins going on up here. You see that? My man had a dome on him. That's probably why he was so smart, man. He made such an awesome map. Kudos to Urbano Monte. Right? And here's the year. 5. Right? X, X, X. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Urbano. Right? So 45. Right? So he's 45 years old when he made this map. Dani de Ani, the year of 45. So he's my age. We're the same age, Urbano Monte and me, when he makes this map. De Ani XXXXV. And then the rest goes on with Urbano Monte. Cool stuff. De Benini left free. Sinofro. And then just more goodness. But anytime I see these the transitions or what I think are transitions happening from here to here, I'm wondering, were pieces of the map removed? Then I go around and I look some more. Right? I go around. I see creatures everywhere. I see what's interesting. I look at places familiar and unfamiliar. Places that I've been, right, in this world, places that I'll give you guys a little bit of insight. I'll give you guys a little bit of insight when I was doing my thing back in the day, right, in the Navy. So a lot of my job required back in the day toroidal turtle. So a lot of my job back in the day required that I understood where the hell I was in this world. And a lot of where I was necessary. A lot of what I was doing and me knowing where I was necessary in me accomplishing the mission on a day-to-day basis. So my thing was not only to look at the maps, but totally understand where it was I was, and where we were doing our missions and conducting our missions out. So prior to the mission, pre-mission, I would get ready and I would prepare my mission and look for certain things by hand drawing the map. So not going to necessarily talk about where I was, but with the places that I was at, I got very good at hand drawing parts of where I was and where I was going to fly, right? And I got really, really good at it. So much so that I started carrying around a pocket atlas with me, small little pocket atlas. Actually, I think I still got it. You know what I'm saying? And this became part of my day-to-day toolage in conducting my affairs out on mission, right? And I got really nerdy about it, and I took my, I was very proud of what I did. But one of those things that I remember, and I remember fondly, was hand drawing the places that I was and the things that I was doing every single day, which was damn near every single day, right? Every single day. And there were times when I was on the subs too. I would hand draw it. I would hand draw where we were. And I got really fucking good at it. And it was fun. You know what I'm saying? It was fun. And Like I learned a lot about the region and just the different characteristics from the different regions that I was in, right? And what the atmosphere would give me, what the sea state would give me, how the air felt if I was flying, how the ride felt if I was in the water. So it was just an interesting life at the time, and just one of the many things I got to do while I was doing what it was I was doing. But hand drawing the map became very key to me, better understanding where I was and helping to convey to folks what it was we were looking at and how important or why it was important, if it was important, right? Places that it was coming from, our relationship as Americans with those countries and those people, and why if we got certain things, it's important and we need to take certain actions, right? Let's rotate this bitch. Look at this right here. So right here looks like it would be the Caspian, right? If you don't know, the Caspian Sea is landlocked, right above Iran and stuff. Caspian Sea, landlocked. Black Sea, the world famous Black Sea, going into the Aegean and then into the Turanian, the middle Turanian. So if you guys don't know, I'm learning a little bit more about this guy named Tyr, a king named Tyr. And I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, and I could be wrong, but they named the Med after him. But it was the Turanian. It was the Turanian Sea. And there's the middle Turanian or the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean Sea. Barbaria, right? Barbaria. I wonder if that's where, just looking at the map, man, this would be John Levy with, maybe he's light years ahead of me, maybe he's years ahead of us, I would imagine he is. But guys like John Levy would look at a map like this, see words like this, and just break them down like quick, fast. Like this is me coming, picking the trash up a little bit late and seeing it and just kind of pouring over it. So that's the map, ladies and gentlemen. That's the map. You know, I love looking at that map. I love talking about it with you guys and seeing what it do. I love it. I love it. So again, last week we spoke about what? Towards the end, right? Man, we 3 hours heavy in this Joker, right? And hey, I got my Sinister Six with me right now, so we pressing. Let's press on. Press on. All right. So last week, in our discussion during Truer Tuesday, we spoke about what? 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes to sway you, right? Or to not necessarily convince you, but to have you investigate for yourself what this world is, right? Stop the screen. 5 minutes. 5 minutes to tell your parents why because your parents are looking at you and they think you are an idiot. My parents are looking at me and they think that I'm crazy. Your boyfriend and girlfriend is looking at you and they think you're a loser because you believe that this world is flat, level, true, and plain. So you've got 5 minutes because they are willing to take 5 minutes out of their life because they think that you are absolutely insane. 5 minutes to give them the best. 5 minutes to give them the best of your greatest hits as to why this realm is a plane. We've got 5 minutes. What do you guys think in 5 minutes? And you're taking your time because it is so well scripted that you've broken that 5 minutes down in your brain and you can give them the hardest, heaviest hitters of the true and level earth. Not videos, unless you can refer to videos later, but coming from your mouth and your spirit, what is it that you're going to give them to convince them that this place is what it is, or not convince them, but to at least have them further investigate. What do you want to give? Well, me, I would give them. Number one, it don't move, right? It don't move Mickelson Morley. That experiment, it could go either way. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Maybe that's a little bit too fast, too soon, but it don't move. Air Force experiment in 1986. That's another one to follow up Mickelson Morley 99 years later, right? Because Mickelson Morley apparently was 1886. The U.S. Air Force conducted an experiment similar to that in 1986. So they don't move. We see too far. See too far. NASA doesn't have real pictures, and they admitted it. NASA, no real images of Earth. The societies, I wouldn't put that in there. I wouldn't say, well, these societies believe that the Earth is flat, right? That doesn't mean that it's flat. Just because they believe one thing, it doesn't mean that it's true, right? But we see too far. Mickelson Morley and it don't move. No real images of the Earth admitted by NASA, right? Rob Simon. It's another thing. Hot air balloons. Well, I guess you could use those as subcategories for it don't move. It don't move, it don't turn, it don't do none of them crazy things, right? It don't do all those things that they claim. The map. So the map of the world and the map of the stars never change. Never, ever change. So what else? What would you guys include with your 5 minutes, right? And so I've got a reason as to why I'm saying this, and I've got a reason as to why this is the second straight week that I'm talking about this specific topic right here, right? Because you've got 5 minutes, and I would go as far as to say you've got less than 5 minutes, right? Because some people will be instantly turned off once you just say flat Earth or true Earth, which I would recommend you say true Earth, and then they'll ask, what's true Earth? Because if you say flat Earth, that's going to leave an acrid smell in their nose and a nasty bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. So you say the true Earth, because this is truly, it's not a lie, and it's not deceptive, because this is truly what this Earth is. You know what I'm saying, y'all? So the true Earth, it's 5 minutes. And I would go as far as to say you got less time than that. You got like maybe 3 minutes, because they're going to have like a million questions that they're going to hit you with, and they won't let you finish, right? Stars don't change or move. NASA doesn't have no real images. We see too far. It's easily proven. Exactly, Maria Walker. We see too far. That was one of my bigger ones, right? Mickelson Morley, it don't move. So those are my 4 so far. And I'll be honest with you, really, you just need like 3-4 strong ones. Speak on them, and like stack the deck when it comes to those 3 topics. And like that right there can like solidify your case as to why this place is what it is and do what it do. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff, and Guy the Spice mentions this often, and I think she's right. We have a lot that we throw to people at one time as to why this place is flat, level, and true, because True Earth Tuesday. But that could be a lot for people. That could be overwhelming for a lot of folks, especially being introduced to a new way of thinking, and they're totally skeptical, which is fine, which is what we want, right? But I'm not going to go as far as to say we want to convince them, because that would be nice, but we want them to do the research themselves, but we want to provide them a good, solid foundation and to just check us out, see if we're lying or not. And it kind of goes back to what I say when you tell the truth, when you give them something to, hey, check me out. I made this claim, check me out, see if I'm lying or not. And it goes back to what I say, that when you start muddying the waters with things like, oh, and then there are lands on the outside, and then there's, like, you got this behind me, the lands on the outside. This looks great. This looks like an amazing the You got the summer gate at the top and everything like that. It looks like what the UN has in their flag, but that's all speculation because we haven't seen it. I know we've heard stories about it, and sure, we could shoot from the hip, and we can pretend, and we can act as if we know, but we have to be honest, right? We're in the time of be honest and give us what you know. Give us what, not necessarily what you think, but you can prove. You can prove what you can prove, and that's it, right? Everything else we can discuss later on, but now is your time to see this world for what it truly is, not for what it could be. And I hope that makes sense, right? So to me, some top not categories, but some high notes to discuss when you're looking to prove, and not prove, but you're looking to demonstrate that this world is a plane, flat level of plane, and that what you're saying isn't funny. It's not a joke, right? You're not coming at people sideways with some bullshit. No, you're actually demonstrating and showing to people what this world is. And here's why. And you're just being good. You're just giving them a few things to gnaw on because like I said, you don't want to overwhelm somebody. Now, if they have more questions, you can have like 4, 5, 6, 7 or more subcategories within those top key topics that you mentioned, but use those and move forward. And then within like 3.5 minutes, you should get your point across. Within 3.5 minutes even, but 5 minutes max. 5 minutes max. It's so important. 5 minutes max, because the thing is once you have somebody's ear ready to learn about the true earth, it's because they've been thinking about it for some time. Right? On and off, they've been thinking about it. They probably get in the shower. They've probably seen some things. They probably heard some things. And the things that they've heard, the reason they're starting to ask you is because it's starting to sound valid to them. Right? And this is what a lot of the globe folks feel, is when much of what we've been learning and much of what we've been seeing, right? Though we've been taught it our whole lives, something had to have happened to make us who we are today, for us to shift our paradigm. Just totally shift and change everything. What does it take to make an atheist believe in God again? How does that happen? What happens to make somebody, that's not because your life changed, because you had a gun pointed at your head and somehow miraculously you lived. You learn to see something in a new light, and now you believe in God. What makes people see that? I think to that alone, I think is absolutely miraculous. And people don't understand how much energy it takes to change your mind. So for you to change your fundamentals to that degree, I think is remarkable, and it warrants investigation, right? And so I think this is time that would be well spent. You know what I'm saying? To take that time and to take just a few key factors, right? To discuss with people, just a few. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything. To discuss with people, to bring them to the light, to what this place is. And then let them investigate it. Let them figure it out. You don't need to show them everything. And I was of that camp that I need to show them everything. I need to show them everything. No, it's good to continue to learn it. it's good to continue to see new possibilities and new things, and to see another reason as to why the Earth is flat. It's just another feather in our hat. It's nothing crazy. We know what this place is. Well, actually, I take that back. We know what this place isn't. We know what this place is not. Okay, that's what's important, right? And here are some ways we can demonstrate that. We know what this place is in. We know what this place doesn't do that they do. And here's my 3.5-minute dissertation as to why that is. If you have questions, hold them for the end, and I'll be more than happy to answer. But then you have questions that you can't answer, and remember that. And remember what to say. Hey, I don't know, but what I think is this, and make sure you kind of embolden. This is what I think. This is not what is true, but what I think is that this is possible. But what I mentioned to you before is what it is. That is the truth. That is the honest to God truth. That is not me mincing words. That's not me trying to lead you astray or trying to sell you the latest rainbow vacuum. No, that is solid. That is hard evidence. And some of you guys might have done these things yourselves. And I think that alone gives it legs. That alone, you know what I'm saying, makes it what it is, makes the true Earth what it is when you do what the scientists used to claim we can't do. But now we know that we're the ones that should be running these experiments, right? And then when we come to our conclusions, and we know what the conclusion is, and it's repeatable over and over again, we show somebody else, hey, you do it. You do it, you see for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it, but I did it, and when I did it, these were my results. And I did it 100 freaking times. And then you let other people figure it out. So let me go to the comment section to see what you guys have to say about it. Turn their heads, horses, full view of the map. Bible holds all the answers, most accessible book, and most neglected. Absolutely, I agree with that. Flying. Plus origins, and you guys can hear me great. My bad. Plus origins of N is kind of a mind of N. We see too far. That's right. And that's easily proven. Yes, anyone can do it. That's right. And so this is where the globe falls apart. So seeing too far, I'd say, is definitely one that should be in your damn toolbox, right? Seeing too far, because what's one of the things that we learn when we're in school, or what's one of the lies that we're given when we're in school? That's obviously that, oh, you can see a boat go over the horizon, you can see a boat drop and dip once it goes a certain distance. That's how you know what? That the Earth is a ball. That's how you know that the Earth is a ball. And God bless our teachers that they were doing us the service by telling us that, but they were just kicking the can of lies down the road. That's all they were doing. That's all they were doing. And we would retire them, and then we'd pick up where they left off, and then we would kick that same can of lies down the road. Unbeknownst to us that this was lies the whole time. We didn't know. We didn't investigate it because we thought they were well-intended people giving us information that we could use in the future. Now it's turned out to be lies. And that's something else that you can have in your toolbox of facts to present, but we see too far. Here's why we see too far. You bring up the numbers that we were given. You bring up the numbers that are solid, right? These numbers ain't going nowhere. There's no more Earth being made. There's no more curvature or a reduction of curvature being made or reduced. No, none of that. It ain't happening, right? It curves at a rate. This is solid. We ain't making these numbers up. These aren't our numbers. These are the numbers. I say that time and time again, because this is something that we have to get through to people that want to mock and want to ridicule us. We know their tricks. We know their bullshit. We know their lies. When you corner them with truth, there's no place else that they can go. They can ask all the questions. They can still ridicule you, but this ridicule becomes empty. because other people may sit there and witness you showing and providing this information. And they can check you out right then and there because everybody damn near has a cell phone. Everyone can see too far. Water level. Water is level, testable, measurable. Absolutely. And especially if people are carpenters or they're land surveyors, they have a strong working knowledge of water levels and levels in general, right? And pendulums. These guys have a working knowledge of those tools. So they know better than anybody that things being level and straight is key to making things like foundations. Because if you build a building, you need what? A strong foundation. If you build any dwelling, you need a solid foundation underneath it, right? And if it's wavy, if it's warped in any way, that's a dangerous foundation that you're working. Or you better find a way to make it plain, right? To make it even, to make it flat. So yes, definitely, water is level, testable, measurable, and repeatable. Find Jesus, you found the truth. Oh, indeed, we see too far as well. Everything else mentioned. Lasers are one more physical evidence of proof that we are drones and other aircraft. All right. Okay. Something funny happened on the way to the moon video. Yes, Bart Sabrell. He's a very good source. I like him. No bulls, no water. That's right. The globe doesn't hold water, and that pun is totally intended. Drones and lasers long distance observations are readily available for everyone. Yes. And when you see too far, when you bring up things like see too far, and they want to watch a link, if they want to watch something, Flat Out Truth is a good source. But an easy one, a tried and true one, FE Core. If you don't know about FE Core all day. These guys have run that test and experiment a million times over. If they want to get the personal testimony from somebody, what's his name? I think there was somebody in the chat that discussed it. I think Nano CBD ran a test. A couple of guys. I think Jimmy Satterfield might have run a test or two, right? With frozen lakes and level water and all that. Recently, these guys have done. But FE Core does it all the time. Another one that does it is Taboo and has done it and has filmed it. Taboo Conspiracy 3. If you haven't subscribed to those three guys, Flat Out Truth, Terry Eichel, Taboo Conspiracy 3, Ben, and FE Core, a whole bunch of these scientists and engineers that come together to make these videos. Sub to those guys, FE Core, and it doesn't stand for Flat Earth Core, no, it doesn't. It's something along the lines of field engineers, or field engineering core, right? Check those guys out. They will provide to you some kick-ass information on this realm that we live on. Testable, experimentable, and experiment worthy, testable, and repeatable over and over again. These guys do it. We are motionless. The Tower of Babel was being built to reach God in heaven. Yes. We don't move. It's a good one. Flood of Noah. Yes. Possible on a flat earth with a containment. Yes. Yes. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, I would caution you when you start be careful when you bring the Bible up. I'm not saying don't bring the Bible up at all. All I'm saying is be careful when you bring the Bible up to people, because that might turn them off automatically, and then they won't want to hear you. Everybody has a speed, right? And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying don't bring the Bible. You do what you do, but be mindful of your audience. That's all. Just be mindful of your audience and when you're going to deliver things like the Bible. I'm not saying it's wrong to deliver Bible information when it comes to the true flat level, but be mindful of when you deliver that. Like use it basically like as a follow-up. Like say, oh yeah, and by the way, this story, Jack and the Beanstalk, proves a flat earth. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. I'm not saying that the Bible is just a series of stories. Not at all what I'm saying. But you could say, hey, these guys understood the realm that we live on, even though some may agree, may not agree with certain narratives. It's fine. But over and over again, time and time, they describe this realm as it is, the way it is, right? All these different chapters. Some may be like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not religious. That's what a lot of folks say, right? But it's something definitely to consider. It's definitely something to think about. The Chinese, you could say the Chinese, you could say the Egyptians. I mean, there's a list of people that knew what this realm was, right? That knew the Norse, and some of these people had the best mariners, and the mariners know some of the best mariners in the world. They knew what this realm was. They knew what this realm is. They wouldn't be able to get from point A to point B if they didn't, right? And these guys, these cartographers that built these maps, right? The damn you don't think that these freaking navigators were jumping on these maps, looking to see, they were on them like they're white on rice, looking to see, oh, did he come up with a new route? And that's another thing, is a lot of these navigators, right? When they find a new route, they name it after themselves. So these guys are probably looking at the hottest, the latest route available and stuff, and they're like, oh, did he find anything? What did he find? Oh, did they put that route that I found in there? Let me see. Oh, snap, there we go. Straight to Magellan, baby. You already know. Oh, baby, that's me. The Straits of Malacca, that's me. You can see it. Yep, that's me. They put my name in there. I don't think it happened that way personally. I'm just joking. But no, just to give you a rough idea, these navigators use these maps and they took it serious. So they're not going to use it on and of course, me personally, I think when they came up with globe balls, they didn't use them to travel, but it was just to get a roundabout idea of where it is they were going, right? And it was just easier to contain something on a ball instead of using and having to scroll out a map. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at a big scroll. I have. It's a pain in the ass to have to roll it out and then lay it flat. I mean, it's necessary, yes, but a globe is much easier to kind of follow and just like hit up, but you can't use it for exact distance and measurements. It's not going to work because the world doesn't function like that. Sorry, you don't. Right? Especially if you're now having to distance curvature and take that into account. No airplane does that. No airplane does that. Sorry. No mariner does that. Like, all right, I'm going to have to travel this many knots this far down because the Earth is curving. No. And I've been in the Navy for 23 years, and I've done ships, and not one time have we taken curvature when it comes to travel. Wind, yes. Current, yes. Curvature, no. What else we got in here? Research Jesuit priest 13 rules learning against learning is the one they use inverting reality. I'm going to look that up, Mr. Jones. I'm going to look that up. 13 rules learning. Jesuit priests 13 rules learning. Okay, let's continue with this 5 minutes. An atheist in reverse speech says Satan. 100%. Wisdom of the world is foolishness with God. Sure is. Yep, Mr. Jones agreed. Regarding Noah and the flood, the Tower of Babel. Yep. Science fiction. Today's scientists studied mathematics for experiments and wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. That is the truth. That's right. The Bible reveals everything as does reality. All of creation does. Yes. Agreed. I agree. But I'm just mentioning so you don't lose people and you don't turn them off, that you don't drop the Bible off immediately. Not yet. You want to come up with what they could see, what they can touch, what they can possibly manipulate so they can achieve the results. I'm not saying so they could see that it's flat. No, just so they could get results. Because you want them to get results, real, proper, true results. And the thing is, it hits different when you do the experiment yourself. it hits different because now you can speak upon it from a perspective of truth, a perspective of experience. It's different when you do these things yourself. I'm trying to listen. That's okay. Satan wants to put doubt on page 1 of the Bible, exactly. And he does put doubt in the beginning. Literally, pun intended. He puts doubt right there. And with that doubt, the rest of the and that's what people think is with that doubt in the beginning of the Bible, the rest of the Bible has no legs to stand on. They're like, oh, they can't even tell me the truth in the beginning. Why would I listen to the rest of it? Why? How could the rest, any of it, be true if the beginning part of that's absolute truth? The beginning part of that text that you're trying to make me believe and fall for. If that part can't be true, why does any of it have to be true? Doesn't make any sense. So that's how they get you. That's totally how they get you. FWFE, that's right, flat water, flat earth. He's got some very good content, and he can show that. He can demonstrate what a lot of what I was talking about. God created the heavens and the earth, not the floating in the heavens. That's right. Truth is truth. Not bringing the Bible up means not bringing up the truth. No, I'm not saying that, Mr. Jones. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying don't bring up the Bible. I'm saying give it some time. Give these guys, because we have to recognize who our audiences are, right? And then we have to give these guys time to kind of take and digest it. When you come at folks with the Bible, they wouldn't even, a lot of times, I'm not saying all the times, but sometimes it may not resonate with them because they're not ready for the information coming at that speed just yet. It's almost as if it's like giving somebody medicine. It's like when you give somebody medicine, right? You want to give them the medicine, but you kind of want to give them something to take the edge off the medicine. Yes, we know the medicine is good for them, but does it taste good? Not really. And if somebody has a little baby palate, they're going to have a hard time with certain medicines, even though it's good for them. So you want to take the edge off by kind of softening their palate a little bit first, then you give them the medicine. Or you disguise the medicine in something. Not that because they know they're still getting the medicine. Right? They know they're still getting something of value out of what you're giving them. But you might have to give it to them just in a different kind of way. Just deliver it to them different, but you're still going to deliver it to them, right? But there comes a time and a place for these things and how they get delivered to the person. Either of God or of the devil. If they are angered by God's words, they're probably not on the right side. I agree, Mr. Jones. I agree. Not saying that at all, but I agree. I agree. But you have to give people a chance to digest the information, because this is a lot of information. Even though it's just these 3 or 4 things that you're giving them, it's a lot of information for some folks. And it could be too soon. It could be too much for some people. So then you want to deliver these things to them just a little bit, piecemeal, just little bit by bit, man. How do you eat an elephant? Fork and a knife, yes, but one bite at a time, right? You give it to them piece by piece, and then you have them investigate it. But every piece that you're giving to them, you got to know your shit thorough. You got to know your stuff. Humming and hawing and umming and awing and humming, like that's not. And even though you don't know, that's okay to not know. But these basics and fundamentals, every flat earther, and when I say flat earther, you're like, we've been grafted in together because we've been doing a lot of research for quite some time together, right? So every flat earther within our field, right, we should pretty much know quite a bit on the topic. And we know that much more about the globe. And I'm not saying to show off and shine on them by asking them, oh, at what speed does the earth rotate? At what speed is the earth chasing the sun? At what speed? You don't have to do that. You could, right? But it's going to make us look very, pinky up type motherfucker. So you don't want to be like that. Pinky up is a SpongeBob reference. Remember that? Don't forget, pinky up, right? You don't want to appear like that. You don't want to appear arrogant. We all we want to do is just to live the truth. That's it, man. That's all we want to do. We just want to get the truth out to people. And so our delivery is important, yes. The truth is important, yes. But shortening a lot of this information helps a great deal. And where they can find it is going to pay off dividends in the end. Because here's what it's going to do also is then say this person does because a true earther. Your demonstration is going to hold a lot of weight with these people, right? The way you explained it, the way you demonstrated it, and I know everybody's is different. Some people may take a little bit longer, that's fine. But a lot of people tend to have short attention spans and might be in a rush. For what? I have no idea. But these days, a lot of people are in a rush, right? So you want to shorten it, you kind of want to condense it, but you want to give them something to hold on to further investigate that is true, right? And where to find the stuff is important too. So if you give them something and you give them a few subcategories with it, here's where they can find the information, right? And then you rinse and repeat. You give it to them the same way. Yes, yeah, there we go. There we go. Maria, I agree, Mr. Jones. I agree, Mr. Jones. But I do see what he's saying about in your audience. Yes, yes, and that's right. And so Guyana Spice mentioned that I seem like I'm very attacky. I get it. And I do have to maybe I do need to tone it down at times. Yes, and I do get passionate. I understand that about myself. With age comes wisdom sometimes, not all the time, right? Sometimes I do have to tone it down. I get it. I get it. But my thing is I come from a place of love. I always want to demonstrate and describe that to folks. But we have a duty still. We have a duty. We can't, just like the way you guys say you feel as if certain folks in the True Earth community are disingenuous. And you calling them out, that is your duty to do that. If you feel that this is the truth, you must say why, right? Be careful now, because you must say why they're being disingenuous, follow through with it. And then the rest of us could, whether we agree or disagree, follow through with this, because we believe we're all looking for the truth. Now, even though I have a way in which I come to you guys and come at you guys, I'm not here to offend. I'm here to just give the truth and deliver the truth. Now, if there's also a way in which I can approach some of the audience a little bit different, I'll look into that. I'll consider it, right? I'm not going to change my whole strategy, not at all. But I'm going to look into that. But when there are those that are violating, that we're being violated when we're being lied to, right? Let's make that clear. Our minds are being, it's a form of abuse. That part we need to understand. That is abuse when you're being lied to like that over and over and over and over again. That stunts your growth. It fucks with your brain. You can't trust anybody, and it sucks. When you can't trust people, you can't love people. And it sucks. And that is a form of abuse. And I think that's one of the points that we're missing. And not all of us, but even those in the globe, though we may not really appreciate the things that they do, they've been abused just as much as we've been abused. But there are a certain group of folks that have dropped the ego. And so know that when confronting your opposition, know that when confronting those that still want to push this lie, that it is a form of abuse, especially when they know what the truth is. So this is why I speak with as much passion as I do when it comes to the topic of the true and level earth. We've been abused, and we've been abused too long to continue kicking that can down the road. So it comes to an end. We call the liars out for who they are, but we do it, and we do it coming from a place of love, right? And so, yeah, like you don't need much in your toolbox. But your toolbox, the tools need to be good tools, not the cheap ones made in China, but good ones. You know what I'm saying? Good, strong tools, like some cobalt tools. Those are some good ass tools. Some Milwaukee, they make some good ass tools. I like their stuff. Not them cheap ass joints, man, that you find, the dollar store tools, man. things made with them damn and weak ass that composite metal. Psst, that stuff will snap on you, man. Hell no, that ain't what you want. Yeah, truth isn't popular, man. The truth isn't popular, but as long as you have, like, when David Weiss comes to a show, I see how he has his, I see how he delivers, and he does a great job. David Weiss does a phenomenal job, right? And he has grown himself. He's an old man. Sorry, Dave, but he's a grown man. But even he has grown, and he has developed his strategy and how to deliver the true earth, right? And it's paid dividends. It's paid dividends. Dave from a few years ago isn't the same Dave today. I mean, yes, it is, but his delivery has changed a little bit. And I like that he's done that, right? He's growing and he's changing with his audience. That's a good thing, right? He's found newer and effective ways to get his idea and his point across. Right? He could either give you the full Monte, or he could give it to you a little bit. He could give it to you a little bit, and he could still get the same point across. To where now you're interested, now you want to further investigate. But the truth could be, you can give it a whole steak. You could give somebody the truth as a whole steak, or you could slice it up like damn pastrami. It's up to you how you want to deliver it to folks, right? But I found that if you break it down and you give it to people like pastrami, it makes it to where it's easier to digest, if that makes sense. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean, Vern? Kind of like them Sprite commercials with Vern and Ernest P. Worrell. Harbor Freight. Never, no. Some people won't. Some Globers never will admit that they've been lied to, and so they keep reinforcing the belief that that's true. And that's what I talk about with accountability. That's how you punish folks. That's how you punish them. By you hold them accountable. You hold their feet to the fire. You let them know this is not acceptable. Not acceptable. This is not acceptable. You're lying to the people, and you're on record lying, and we're gonna put your face out there. Bullshit the people like that. Shame on you. You shame them that way. You ain't hurting nobody. You just calling a strike, and a ball, a ball. Family, YouTube family, and good people of the internet, that is my time. I got to roll. It has been real, y'all. I appreciate everything that you do. It is late. It is like 2 in the morning late, right? 3 in the morning. Late. But we came and we brought it today. My voice over there cracking. We came and we brought it today, and it was good. It was some good stuff we went over. And shout out to Flatworks, man. You do good works, Flatworks. Thank you for that. Thank you for the video. I hope you see this, and you guys also, the guy that I was talking about, Sovereign Soul, the Unchained Mind, him, all you guys, Terry Hyper and everybody else, you guys do great work. And guys, if you haven't subbed to these dudes, shame on you. Unshame yourself and sub to these guys because they provide great content. You guys, it's been real. It's been phenomenal tonight. Middle Earth Monday, I don't know. But it's actually Tuesday today. I'll probably be coming at you tomorrow night too. Or tonight. I apologize. But we're gonna come strong tomorrow too. For actual True Earth Tuesday. And not messed up Monday. I wish you guys nothing but the best, and you guys have been amazing. Be sure to tune in with me tomorrow again. Let's do it again, y'all. Wish y'all nothing but the best. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity. Most of all, wisdom. You guys be safe out there. You guys get your sleep. Don't be late to work. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Love you. I'm out. Peace.